Beautiful like the wings of a butterfly, magnificent wonder rhymes, honeybee sweet tea with the lemon lime, yellow green summertime, rose gold Cuban links, bifocal spectacle, Louis V, who is he? Dark matter alchemist, world disorder, the wizard king, extrasensory perception, my God ability, rolling with the children of the sun, we is family, brothers from another mother, me and Ray's co-elite.
It's simple to complicate, it's cinematic. Concise evolution, life streaming amino acids. Splash your little daffodils and sunflowers. Good fellowship, philanthropist, no gunpowder. A wordsmith from invisible space.
Deception type, blood on their clothes, they can't cover their crime. At least I hold superior on earth, money is power. Taken from the needy with every day and passing hour. No rain without the flowers, ain't no flowers with the pain. No saints without the sinners, what if I'm the one to blame? Spread my wings like a samba sings, gonna pack my bag at the freedom ring. Align my soul with the frequency, vibration match on my deepest dreams. It's a game to meet with the camera at. Life I ain't never had my luck with that. Past life tremble but bang with that. Time flies ticking too fast like that. I'ma stack like pancake, chase that bag. I'ma make that 100 grand like Meg till it all falls down and the sun goes black. Talk my attack, I'ma walk my path. I'ma swim like shark, learn my craft. I'ma ride this wave like a candle.
The republic for which it stands, one nation under God. Tell me who switched the plan in liberty and justice for all. Must didn't think that we would advance. My flag come with flaws. They hide behind these laws. My flag come with flaws. Now my taxes finding wars. Nothing they ain't done before. My flag come with flaws. Wonder how you got it there again. They keep us on medicine. My flag come with flaws. They call me an African American, been thinking about dropping my slave name. I heard you could march for it or ignore it, but shit is pretty much the same thing. You gon' get the same results. The harsh reality is finding out they playing games. The system only works if we don't try to convert from them niggas that make it rain. Soon as you try to buy something big, here they come, here they come.
Mommy on me, ay, see through. Melanin on me, what do I have to prove? Oh, I'm your Hershey. I just pray the Milky Way doesn't hurt me. All this eye contact, are we flirting? Will I come back? Nothing certain. But what if I do? Then I admit this dream would be hella smooth. Tell me what's the worth to a hellish move? All these conscious tunes, was I born to soothe? Born in the zoo.
Peace and chaos. We are back. Shout out to my YouTube family. Y'all give me a thumbs up if y'all can hear me. In the chat, give me a thumbs up. Welcome back to the True Occult newspaper. In the spiritual shade room, we are here to enter into the fabric of non-Euclidean physics, corresponding to the occult metaphysical faction of psycho-spirituality. Here we study the Naga currents throughout history to the planet's Kundalini's repositories and the Samadhi state of the Sahasrara, the thousand-petaled lotus in the mind, which redeems the alchemical journey of the hero pursuing the immortal elixirs of the void. We also cover gematria, which is Jewish numerical mysticism. We cover ritual, symbolisms, and the social orders of the world, subconscious psycho-spiritual practice, retrocausal psychology, deity morphology, and subatomic consciousness, the sciences of the black hidden light of Gnostic aeons, and many more mind-blowing phenomena. So the sound is good. What's up, family? I haven't been here in quite a while. We got a lot to chop up game about today. I know everyone is looking at the Drake and Kendrick beef. Y'all know we got some fire for that. We're going to get into that a little bit later. I'm going to drop everything that's esoteric dealing with this. Yeah, I'm about to cook with it. I'm about to cook with that Drake and Kendrick stuff. But we got some things to talk about before we get into it. So a whole month has passed. I wasn't able to get on here in April. So I have to spot little pockets of information to catch some of y'all up for this transmission to flow. And then we will start rolling after I go through the hyperlucidity to get to the overall lesson. But yeah, I wanted to wait and do this podcast on this day that my father passed in 5/5/2000. My father passed when I was 9 years old. And without my father from age 9 to 33, I feel like my influence in the occult will have never materialized the way that it has in my life. And you can see that in my book, The Blueprint of Darkness on Amazon, which I talk about it. But yeah, my father got me into, well, I don't know if he knew or not, but he got me into spirituality and occultism early because of the Phantom. He was a fan of the Phantom. I don't know why he was a fan of the Phantom, but I remember watching this show a lot with him. Not this version of it, but this just came out on Amazon Prime. But they had like the TV series version with episodes. We will watch that together, and we will watch Blade. But yeah, the new series got the Moorish connection because the Phantom story is a Moorish story. It's the whole story of the Moors. If you look into it, it even has some African. He goes to Africa and does all this type of stuff, but he gets the ring from some Moors off a pirate ship. If you read the comic book, and my father he gave me this ring when I was like 6 or 7 years old. He gave me this ring here, and there's 2 rings that I'm gonna break down before I dedicate what we're gonna do today to him. But the Phantom ring was something he gave me at a young age, and I never really understood until this day, why the Phantom was important. Well, I won't say till the day, but today it came to me full circle thinking about it. The Phantom ring is the pineal gland. The Phantom ring represents the Phantom himself is Osiris wearing purple, the color of the highest vibratory color. Raphael, the angel, is also a form of Osiris. The healing deity is usually purple. But the Phantom ring in the comic books, or how it's described in the show, is capable of channeling the entirety of the emotional spectrum. But unlike the other characters, Cal's ring, after not the other character, they're talking about Cal, I think the Green Lantern. Cal evolves into the White Lantern. He gains also the Phantom ring. But we're talking about the first Phantom. The original ring it channels the entire spectrum at will, and it shifts the spectrum to one color at a time, depending on which emotion that the wearer is feeling the most. So now that I've grown in the wisdom of occult eschatology and metaphysics, I feel like I've mastered an ability to transmute my emotions into a better reality, which is representative of what the ring does. And the Phantom is also a form of melanin, which is a multi-rhythmic hormone that can generate new realities at will. It, meaning melanin, generated us into this matrix, literally. Melanin is basically the intelligence of the spirit, the spiritual planes or realms. Melanin is the intelligence. It draws the blueprint of what materializes in the physical or third dimension. And my father had special spiritual abilities. He could see in the future. He used to tell me, my mom, my brother and sister that he was going to die one day by fire. This is when I'm like 5, 6 years old, 5, 6, 7, 8, damn near every month he would say, yeah, you know, I'm gonna die by fire one day. And I'm like, why is he telling me this? He's scaring the shit out of me right now. But he was a seer, he was a priest. He could see things. He would tell people about themselves, and it used to blow our minds, you know, as a family, you know, a Christian family. And my dad, he didn't go to church until the last year. I think the last 2 years of his life, he started to go to church with us. And that was something, you know, just to see him in church. But he died on impact in a car accident. But the car did burn his body. His body got singed by the fire. So he didn't die, you know, the fire didn't kill him. He died on impact, but his body did get singed. So he predicted a lot of things, and he could see like supernatural entities. He could see like demons in people. Because one time he told my uncle, who was about to be newly wedded to my aunt, that there were demons stroking the front of his head. I remember this as a child. And he told him that he was a fraud, because my uncle was a minister too. Like, he told him to his face, "You're a fraud." Like, the first 2 minutes of meeting him, I was like, okay. But my uncle came back years later, you know, after he got ousted out of the church he was a part of. He divorced my aunt not too long afterwards. I think they probably went for like 10 years, something, 10 or 15 years. And he came and told me, I remember he was at another place, and he said, yeah, your dad was nothing to play with. And he told us, like me and my brother, that he remembered what my dad had told him at our house 27 years back. And that same uncle died last year on Christmas. So he made the transition. So I just see how, you know, these things come full circle. And when I tell you, you should be living a magical life, these stories may not mean nothing to you, but these things are critical of what's happening in your life with people involved with your life. Is very, very critical to analyze it. So I see now how my spiritual gifts have manifested in this incarnation like him. So all I'm saying is, you know, rest in power to the old man. And the planets lined up the day that he made the transition on 5/5/2000. So yeah, all of the planets lined up. I also showed you guys one time, you can get the book 5/5/2000. There's a book, and they talk about the planets lining up on this date. It's right here, by Richard Noon, 5/5/2000. Very popular book, Ice the Ultimate Disaster. So I knew just from understanding that when I first used to watch Bobby Hemmett and him breaking down why 5/5/2000 was important, that that dad was a Osirian archetype of the Pharaoh returned to Earth. And I knew it because his funeral was very big and emotional. I don't like going to funerals, but I've been to a couple, you know, since then. And I don't think I've quite seen people react in such an emotion since then. So it tells me the impact that someone makes on the world is very reflective of your funeral. And that was just like something to see. Like, that was real amazing to see. So want to dedicate this lecture today to him, to pay homage. You know, your boy got all of his good looks from him. You know, all of my swag and occult abilities is from this man. So thanks, Pops. And I'll make sure to continue on the legacy of the family, because I'm a father now. So that's that Jupiterian energy, the father and the guru coming full circle as fellow phantoms. So you develop that relationship in that archetypical landscape that you can root yourself in. Whatever connection you can make with your imagination is important to the subconscious, and it's a part of your magic. The connections to your ancestors is part of your magic. So I'm showing you this not to brag or talk about me and my dad. I'm showing you this to show you how you can incorporate the same science with important people or ancestors in your life. So that's a lesson that I want to give early. Okay, so today's lecture or the video is called Eclipsemancy Black Sun Wars. That's exactly what's going on out here in these streets. And that's what this shit is all about, the black sun. They telling you it's the eclipse, but the stuff is about the black sun. Tezcatlipoca was the black sun god of America, but there's many black sun gods, Amun-Ra, a whole bunch of them in history that we can go through. But the black sun is the quantum dot, the Bindu seed, the holographic polarity of Sirius B, and it's a holographic polarity to the sun in the sky, if that's even a sun, because I'm gonna show y'all something with that space mission called Proba 3 on April 8th of the eclipse, proving that there are solar simulator patents of them orchestrating a artificial eclipse. There's articles I'm gonna go through. And if you watch Brother Sanchez, his interview of me, and shout out to that brother Sanchez, and any of his listeners that's here today, I broke down the TV series 3-Body Problem on how the trisolarons, or I think it's trisolarians, they were called the Santee in the show, but they're trisolarians in the book. But they had this 11-dimensional compressed entangled proton supercomputer. That's literally what they called it. That's not even me using a bunch of words, but they called it a SOFIN. It was a small, compacted device, small as a proton, that acted as a mobile supercomputer with almost a immeasurable surface in the fourth dimensional space, which it housed its own AI computing power that can disrupt scientific measurements by disturbing the path of particles in a particle collider. Well, is it a coincidence in that show that they're shutting down the Earth's particle colliders? By they, I mean higher dimensional entities, ultra-terrestrials, and we're real close right now of getting Alan H. Greenfield on this YouTube channel. That's something that I'm working on in the background, trying to line up some interviews. And he wrote the book, The Secret Rituals of the Men in Black. This guy is one of the first euphonauts ever to talk about ufology and UAPs and all of that. So if we can get him in to pluck his brain on some of this stuff that's happening, that would be amazing. That's like getting Kenneth Grant on your channel. This guy goes way back to that time. So yeah, he was writing about the fake sun way back in the damn 70s and 60s and shit. So we're working on that right now. So they were shutting down the Earth's particle colliders, these higher dimensional entities. And then we see similar events during the eclipse, the path of totality, that mimic the same phenomena, because the eclipse was in Amavasya. And we covered this this picture of the fake simulator sun. Some people zooming in, looks like black sun in the mind. But we covered that this thing was about Amavasya. And Amavasya is a Vedic astrological tithi. A tithi is a phase of a duration when two sides of the moon shows the fundamental panchangas elements which are used in choosing a muhurta. That is a muhurta is a specific period in astrology that's auspicious for a person to do significant activities in their lives. So Amavasya, if we're talking in reference to the moon, is the last phases of a duration of the two phases of the moon, which gives us, as we learned from Kalini's interview. By the way, guys, I apologize for not being able to get Kalini's interview on here. I know some of you wanted to see that, but something was going on with the eclipse. Then we were in Mercury in retrograde around that time or something like that. I couldn't do an interview with Donut. Me and Donut couldn't go on. I couldn't do my own video. I was trying to record a video just to put up. And then when Kalini's interview came up, like days later, I thought it was fixed. We weren't able to get her on. There was just so much going on. So we ended up recording it on Zoom. And it's available now on Patreon. And this week, I'm going to get my editors to help me to see if we can get that video edited. And then I do a commentary on it with you guys to go through it. Maybe I could bring her back. I don't know where schedule it is, but if not, we'll do a commentary on it. And I'll take some notes to bring to you guys so it still can be a video for YouTube. But if not, you can go and get the full video right now on Patreon. So during Amavasya, Kalini told us that this is an auspicious and inauspicious time for black magic ritual. So the Eclipsemancy occurs when they use that tithi that we went in during the eclipse to do disruptions in the layers of the atmosphere, attacking the physical body with scalar wave energy weapons and using CERN to unleash this new demon face syndrome condition I'm going to talk about. And the eclipse sickness that came right after that, which we now know, they sprayed aerosolized quantum dots down on people. I have the article right here. It says we could take a lesson from the latest, I don't know if I can say that word, PSYOP, that occurred on U.S. soil during the April 8th eclipse event. The Jewish-controlled media amplified Eclipse Day hysteria to get more sheeple's attention. The media then told sheeple where to be in order to experience the fullness of the path of totality, which they indeed knew was actually the path of fatality. This person's funny, but an estimated 30 million Americans live in the zone where you could see the total solar eclipse, and another 150 live within a short driving distance, and this does not include populations of Mexico and Canada. The Z word controlled the U.S. Air Force flew to Lockheed C-130 of Hercules at 9,900 feet, so the aerial Q dot injections could not be visible to eclipse spectators, but it proceeded to spray the path of totality with aerosolized quantum dots, which is a biosynthetic, highly infectious, intelligent nanoparasite that takes instructions from external frequencies such as 5G, scalar, and Li-Fi, which was developed at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem by, y'all see the word, scientists. This toxic Q dot cloud was invisible to observers on the ground, but was detected on radar by BP Earthwatch when social media erupted with people claiming that they felt sick after viewing the eclipse. Their media fabricated the eclipse sickness lie. It just is, and just as we heard about women experiencing menstrual irregularities after the C word rollout and from the shedding, we hear the same stories from women who attended the eclipse event. And this is the reason why their controlled U.S. media isn't reporting on this, because it is a operation to destroy Americans. So there you have it. And I even was feeling sick like for 2 weeks. You know, I don't get sick too often. I know some people who get sick a lot. Do y'all know people who get sick a lot? Put a thumbs up if you know people, because I don't know a lot of people who get like me that don't, you know, it's rare. It's a rare thing. I probably get sick once a year or something like that. So when I got hit with this thing, and I put it up on the community board to let you guys know what was going on, it was like I was filled up with so much mucus. It was just crazy, man. It took time to get that mucus up out of me. Yeah, I'm still coughing too. I don't even cough like that. It's not like I got mucus in me, but I'll cough out of nowhere. And I'm like, I know the worst that happens to me is that I'll have a running nose sometime, but I don't cough like that. So they got that going on. Everybody has a cough now. But it's interesting dealing with this eclipse that the C word rollout started on December 14th, 2020. Y'all remember the woman, what was it? Sandra Lindsay, the Jamaican woman, took it in Queens, New York, where Trump is from. And the day that she took it was the exact halfway point between both eclipses. What's the odds of that, y'all? 173 weeks to 173 weeks from 2017, August 21st to April 8th, 2024. That means that's 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. That's the 33 connection, which we all know what that means. 37 holidays, 346 weekend days. That's 1,200. That's 11.5 days. This is crazy right here. This means that they use Eclipsemancy. They use the magic of both of these eclipses to pick a time to roll this thing out. And now they have something else out here, probably a similar mutation of what they put out, and no one is talking about it. No one is talking about it. He said, funny, we can get away with vulgarity, but not the C word. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just real crazy out here. And then your boy, Mr. Casamigos himself, you know, George Clooney owns Casamigos. He said it's time to force jab every unveed person in America. Back on April 16th, he came out of his mouth and said that crap. But on my old YouTube, I told you about the significance of the name George. It's all through history. George Washington, George Floyd, the name George. What's the other guy? George Soros. Something with America and George. It's crazy, but I know George is a synonym. What is this? It's a acronym for, what was it? Is it an acronym? Yeah, I think it's an acronym. No, it's not an acronym. It's a, what is the word? You move the letters around, whatever that is, but it's egregore. It means egregore. Somebody said, yep, somebody told you that fast, had mucus in your system. Yep, Jordan. It's a citrate magnesium saline laxative, is very good at cleaning out the mucus. Thank you, Nina. Anagram. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Anagram. Yeah. So he would say that. So yeah, so there you have it. So I want to talk about spiritual protection. I want to talk about spiritually protecting yourself about what's to come. We're just going to go into that for a quick second, and I'm gonna hop right back into this eclipse information. So we gotta be able to spiritually protect ourselves from what's happening. The Native Americans call it Neo-Chi or Kwai. Kwai or Ni was Algonquin for chi or energy. You see that? So they had the Native Americans, I'm saying that wrong. The American Indians had a feng shui system, and you need to begin to align your house with a feng shui protective system for corpulescent energy lattices. You need to put this thing into motion, because with the American Indians, they had already knew the science of the universe, because they visited the subconscious Qliphoth realms mentally every day, the shattered vessels of light from the primal light, from realms beyond Earth and beyond the third dimensional reality. So they could see that we lived inside of a toroidal field. That's why they designed the teepee. When you look at the design of a teepee, I think I did that on my Sixth Sun video. I talked about a teepee. A teepee is a toroidal field. They're reenacting a toroidal field downwards. You see what I'm saying? You say your doctor told you to build up your immunity. The first thing you need to do is what William Powell said. You need to build up your immunity before you start to put that feng shui system in. You see what I'm saying? You said, why don't I talk about numerology, letterology? I do talk about it. I'm one of the top people who talk about that. Just wait 1 second. we got to handle some business before we get into gematria. I got enough gematria today. That's what you call it, gematria. But the Neo-Chi, the feng shui of American Indians, they practice vortex physics. So you have to get your household, just like they had their living space in order, align with this Neo-Chi. So that's to defend against their black magic spell attacks. There's a lot of people talking about they're dealing with black magic spell attacks. Now, if you come to me with that, I'm gonna tell your ass, how are you assured that these people are doing black magic spell attacks? And if it's coming from your mind, then it's you battling Qliphotic realms within you. The Qliphoth is like shattered realms of repression of your subconscious and unconscious that you haven't dealt with. So those develop and become the demons that you see in dreams or with the naked eye. When I was going through that sickness, and that's why I was going to talk about demon face syndrome, I was seeing realms of demons. I never really have nightmares like that. I haven't had a nightmare in years. But they were saying that this thing will make you see demonic faces. And, they started to roll out CERN around the time of the eclipse. Now everybody is dealing with that. Yeah, that's how you spell it, JT. That's how you spell it. Anya says she has some nightmares. Yeah. I was like, what the hell is going on? Let me play you something on this demon face syndrome real quick.
So they took off my previous video about this. That means that I'm right over the target. So I'm going to try this one more time, and we'll maybe use rhyming words sometimes if I have to. I don't know. But what is going on with the Soundgarden video, Black Hole Sun, and the similarity with Demon Face Syndrome.
Now, he says, I forgot to mention that this group named Soundgarden, let me pull that up real quick, because somebody kept sending me emails about this, and I said, I'm going to look at it. But honestly, I didn't look at it. But I mean, I did look at it, but it was later on after they were sending it to me. But this is back in 2010. It's called Black Hole Sun, speaking about Eclipsemancy. Now, look at the predictive programming in this thing.
Demon Face Syndrome. If you have not heard about this syndrome yet, please look it up. I'm not making this up. It is a syndrome that has been happening to people over the last week or so, where people all of a sudden see demon faces on other people's faces. So all of a sudden,
it's deeper than that. It ain't just you seeing it in other faces. You seeing it, you just seeing it, just straight up.
Free. They're gonna want you in a laboratory somewhere, tied down. And I'm sorry, but to anyone that is seeing demon people, I'm truly sorry that that's happening to you. Although it might be a gift, but you might also want to be careful who you tell that to. But anyway, you're going to want to watch that music video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube, watch the Black Hole Sun music video.
So speaking about eclipses, so they got this stuff with people's faces morphing, but they showed you when they came out with the movie Smile. Remember, they dropped the movie Smile, and I told you about that. I told you about that movie. Hold on. I can't type worth nothing today. 2022, the movie Smile came out. And in that movie, they were talking about seeing demon faces. You know? So they had already had predictive programming out, preparing for the eclipse even before that. And remember when they were sending these actors out in public events just to smile evilly at the camera? They were hiring people to do that. They were lining that stuff up. They were lining it up. But the point I'm saying is that you have to go and face those demons. We talked about that on Patreon. That's the Klepoth realm. So I gave a personal experience of me going into that dream and what I had to do to confront those demons. And what you have to do, you confront them, because if you don't confront them, it's a misalignment with the elementals of the mind. Remember, I did soul elementals last. You have to find, if you have to find an allegiance in your elementals, which are the light side, the astral light side of your spirit, you also have to go into the deep depths of the subconscious, the darkness, you know, the quote unquote black hole, black sun. And you have to get the dark entities in alignment too, you, or at least get them in order to know who's boss. And you do that by aligning the third eye, aligning the Bindu seed, the Bija seed, the quantum dot has to be aligned. And you have to be attentive in the third eye, just like you're attentive in the conscious mind. And what that does, that begins to shore up the dimensional rifts in between the shattered portions of the mind that matriculates down into the subconscious, superconscious, unconscious portions of the mind that you barely tap into. There's only a rare moment you will tap into the super consciousness. You know, that's like a big moment when you realize what your abilities is. And your unconscious is affecting everything you're looking at. You might see something and you look at it again the same way, and it means something a different way because the subconscious had already been observing different realities from the standpoint of looking at it. And your knowledge is going to help you look at it different. So that's why it's important to read and to discern certain things, because your knowledge is what's going to take you into higher dimensional realities. It ain't going to be somebody giving you a technique. It's going to be what you know. And if you don't know it, you're not going to be able to break through that threshold or barrier that limits you and keeps you down, confined to this third dimensional reality. So when you go and you confront them demons, first of all, you got to know how to have a telepathic invocation, because sometimes to communicate with these type of entities, especially in the dark realms, you got to know the barbarous names. Go watch some exorcism movies. They ain't bullshitting with that shit. I can't wait to get Alan H. Greenfield. He's a certified exorcist. And I remember him talking about some stuff with feng shui, or what is it? Qigong. He got some Qigong. He has some deep occult Qigong lessons, and how to get them spirits up out of you or out of people. You got to know the fucking barbarous names. And that's the Abrahamic spell work. But that's not always. You can have a telepathic invocation and tell them those entities where they have to abide by what your mind is saying. But some of them may simply not understand you. So their whole objective and goal, they're nothing but your fear, your repressed fears became a entity from you not dealing with it. Your repressed fears combined and became an image of something that would frighten you, and they would just try to frighten you. That's what they were made to do. So when you look at it in your dream, they were autonomously made from you. And when they look at, when they feel your presence, they're like, well, you made me for you to be scared of me, so I'm gonna try to make you scared. And simply you have to have that telepathic communication to let them know, nah, motherfucker, I made you. I'm in control. And you ain't about to do none of that. And they will cease, and they will transmute the next time you come into the dream into another energy. They don't have to appear in a fearful form. So you start to get not only the light beings, but you get these dark entities in alignment and get them in check in your life. Because if you don't get them in check, it's like having a dog off his leash. It's like having a dog off his leash. It's just running around in your mental planes, creating all sorts of fucking problems in your life. And you're wondering why you keep saying, why does stuff keep happening to me? Crying and stuff. Why does it keep happening to me? Because you don't got your demons in check. You don't know how to work with the cliphotic realm and get these things under check. So we've been doing classes on Patreon to really get to the nitty gritty of that stuff. We even talked about the Hopian physics, the Hopi Americans and their prophecy of the eighth fire transmuting into the rainbow warrior. What does that mean? We broke that down as well. But they dealt with underworld physics. They all they talked about was some damn underworld shit, just like the Egyptians. You know, Al-Pooch, Mictlantecutli, Xibalba is dealing with the Qlipoth, the subconscious repressed states of the mind. We'll go into that a little bit later. So there's some deep subject matter. So after you get a hold of getting your mind in order, you know, cleaning it out just like you clean your house, and after you got your body's health in the right direction, you know, you also need to when you lay down in bed, another reason why you could be having these dreams is because your head is facing the wrong direction of what's auspicious to your astrology. Your head can be facing the wrong direction. So we can also do consultations when dealing with feng shui to let you know, because Kalini gave me a new chart like a week or two ago, and she informed me in the chart that you need to have for financial benefits. I need to place a waterfall in the north half of my house or my living space. That can affect things. That is a part of feng shui. This stuff is real, some real stuff. There was a story about a guy out in China, this Chinese owner of a mall. He owned this mall and people stopped going to the mall. So he hired a feng shui expert. The guy came, you know, he started to do some stuff, line some things up, put some certain sigils, certain symbols, and doing certain affirmations and working with elements, laying leaves, water. He was doing all types of spiritual stuff. And it was like a week or two passed by and the owner was like, yo, you're not doing nothing. He was like, listen, the guy, the feng shui expert said, listen, if you put 20,000 down and nobody comes, and he said, I'll match you half of the money. If nobody comes to your mall within a month, then you can keep the money. And by the end of the month, that mall was full again. That's a true story. That's a true story. So if you don't think propagating energy and culminating it and making it transmutative, transforming and transmuting it, if you don't think that's important, then that's why certain things don't change in your life. Because the first part of alchemy in your mind from a psychological standpoint is getting rid of your habits. You have to get rid of your habits. So the first thing you have to do is begin to shed different portions of your habits that no longer serve you. Just like I said with the elementals, if it's not doing nothing for you, you need to stop doing it. You need to do something else. So laying your head in a certain direction, we got to look in your chart. You got to know where and which crystals to place in certain areas. So organite is a must. Obsidian is a must. Different sun crystals and different moon crystals. Your moon crystals have to be buried. They have to be buried and charged by bioluminescent light from the moon. And your sun crystals have to be charged by the sun. So certain people wearing crystals, we have a crystallographer, Dr. Angel Green. She would tell you some crystals aren't meant to be worn long, or they're meant for high energetic propagation. So you're wondering why things are out of whack in your life, and you got all these crystals on your necklace. You don't know you were supposed to take that crystal off, and you were supposed to balance the energy by putting another crystal on. These things are real. I'm talking crystals were formations of energy way before the physical even became materialized. There's a book on that. There's a book on that. There was certain radiation that became stone or formations of lattices. So they're very powerful technology. Our ancestors built whole civilizations off them. It's crystal cities, especially in America and places in the Western Hemisphere. So you got to know what you're doing with that. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing. So you also got to keep certain doors closed. Keep your bathroom door closed and close the toilet. That's a part of feng shui. That's a part of keeping karma and dharma in a right place in your life. Everything is warfare at this point, family. Everything is warfare. We're in a spiritual war against these archons. We're in a spiritual war. All of that shit they're talking about on the internet, Anunnaki, Elohim, Grays, whatever you want to call it. These are goddamn archons. These are the day guys, the Devas. I'm going to go deep into it a little bit later. His name is Tez Kali Polka, Intense Heart Medicine. Tez, Tezcali, I think Poca. Tez Kali Polka. That sound about right. That'll sound about right. You said, does it matter the size of the fountain? Yes, it does matter. The bigger, the better. That's like paying homage to your ancestors. The more you invest in it, the more you're going to get out of it. Yeah, that's right there. Absolutely. But they were so serious about this Amavasya Tithi that they killed the person who named the God particle, Peter Higgs. They ain't playing no games. See, we the ones playing games right now. We playing the games. Peter Higgs. So look, he's the one who named the Higgs boson particle, is named after him, the God particle. It says CERN is to test the world's most powerful particle accelerator on April's solar eclipse. That's April 8th. April 8th was in search for invisible matter that secretly powers our universe. He died on the day that they activated the CERN machine. You know, and his name in Freemason equals 48. Peter Higgs, physicist who proposed Higgs boson, dies age 94. His name equals 115, 155, like Freemasons. 115 is the number of Lucifer, by the way. Now, Lucifer in a biblical sense is negative, but Lucifer in a metaphysical sense is positive. Lucifer just means light bearer. So Higgs boson brought light to quantum physics. Higgs boson, a Nobel Prize winning physicist who proposed a new particle known as Higgs boson, died. He was 94. He got the Nobel Prize in 2013 for his work in 1964, showing how the boson helped bind the universe together by giving particles their mass. He died at home in Edinburgh. Edinburgh and Higgs boson equals the same numbers in the cipher. So it was a perfect place for him to die because they're the ones who killed him. Peter Ware Higgs died 52 days after his birthday. Higgs boson, Edinburgh, physicists, all equals 52. So the person who proposed the existence of the God particle died at 94. God particle, Society of Jesus. Those are the assassins of the Catholic Church. Go get the movie Shogun. They're going to show you how the Jesuits get down. Who's watching the new series Shogun? We talked about that briefly on Patreon this week or last week. If you don't think the Society of Jesus, remember I made that video on the metaphysical history of crosses. Jesus today is a demonic egregore. Now listen to what I'm saying. If you're Christian, just listen real quick. Originally, we understand that Yeshua ben Dor Bey was a person that was persecuted, whether it was by the Roman government or whoever it was. We know that there was a being sort of like an avatar, how they talk about Thoth, Jehudi, different Christos throughout history that did phenomenal things, performed miracles. We had plenty of different Christs. Let's just say Yeshua's most recognized one. I'm fine with that. And they changed his name to Jesus biblically in the Nicene Council, because the letter J didn't even exist before the 16th century. So that doesn't make sense. And Jesus is a Greek name, and Jesus was a Hebrew. So how does a Hebrew get a Greek name? Some people just don't think. But let's just say the character was real. Today, if you look at how they use Jesus, all of these demonic, satanic people in the industry, what do they have on? Crosses. I showed a picture of it. Go look at my video, The Metaphysical History of Crosses. All of them have crosses, all of them saying Jesus and all that type stuff. But I'm telling you right now, these people who made this thing into a real living archetype is the Society of Jesus, the Catholic Church. And now this thing has become an egregore. An egregore is a collective thought of thought energy and memories from previous civilizations and incarnations. And they believe so strongly on a focused group thought that it becomes a real autonomous entity. And I'm trying to tell you right now, you said, are you medically insane? What collegiate university did you attend? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about all that. Y'all up in here. As soon as you say the name Jesus, that's how you know it's a demonic spirit. As soon as you say that name, people just start whacking out. That's how you know it. That's exactly how you know it. So, Society of Jesus killed him. Jesus killed him. I'm on this play. I'm just trolling the guy in the chat. But you got to learn how to deal with the emotions. The emotions will destroy you. Okay, y'all get this guy up out of here. He's crashing out. Once they crash out, get him up out of here. It says Peter Higgs, physicist who proposed Higgs boson, he died at 94. That's 100 days before he received the what you call the Nobel Prize. Large Hadron Collider is 100. It says UK Nobel Prize winning physicist Peter Higgs died at 94. That's the reverse of 49, because in Europe they showed the date backwards than the US. So 94 is same as 4/9. Nobel Prize equals 49. He died at 94. He shed light on dark matter. Now they just came out with a new series called Dark Matter that we're going to break down. Dark matter equals 666 in gematria, by the way. But here's the new series, Dark Matter. So you guys need to check this out. I think it just came out a couple of days ago. Let's see. So did I collab with Donut before? Yeah. Me and Donut did a lot of videos, did a lot of documentaries. PhD guy, he crashed out. y'all clowning him. Another series you got to get is Parallel. Speaking of the multiverse, because they came out They came out with the Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. You need to watch Part 1 and Part 2, family. Don't sleep on it because it's a cartoon. Do not sleep on it. They dropping everything in this Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths because we do live in Infinite Earths. And they're talking about the Higgs boson particle up in there and the multiverse and how it affects all of our quantum bodies. And then they showed these beings, these shadow beings rising up to take over the different cosmos. I can break that all down. They showed all of the shadow beings. They showed them demonic at first, but it formed and became a big celestial, some type of Anunnaki, Nephilim god. And they couldn't fuck with it after that. But there are other avatar forms that we inhabit that's only separated by the condensed electromagnetic fields produced through the mind from our brain. Because in the Necronomicon books of H.P. Lovecraft, the brain is called the elder sign, which locked us in. The brain is the problem of this reality. It's not the reality within itself. The brain makes it real. Without the brain, it will be nothing but a hologram. Our hands will literally phase through all solid objects. It wouldn't even exist without this brain. This brain was created by the archons. You better understand that. Yeah, the movie Magical Negroes, I'm gonna talk about that. They kind of had that flop on purpose because of the woke agenda in it. Then they try to sabotage it with the colors. So I'll talk about that. So we're trapped in this black box, so to speak. And they had this being in the show. I forgot her name, but she could travel through time and space. And she gathered all of the greatest heroes across all of the infinite earths and brought them to the little ship with the guy who was the observer. He was like an advanced being. I forgot his name. But look, she's a pure carbon being. Pure carbon celestial being. That's the mother. That's like Sophia. She's a feminine archetype. So get Justice League Infinite Earths. They're dropping in that. Hold on. What did I miss before I get to the next part? I missed some things. Yeah, we talked about eclipse sickness. So they had eclipse sickness. They said this is how some people was looking after the eclipse. It's hilarious. But remember Jacob Rothschild's death from that eclipse in 2017 to the eclipse April 8th is literally 6 years, 6 months, 6 weeks. And 6 years, 6 months, 6 days from Jacob Rothschild's death. This is Eclipsemancy. The Native Americans or the American Indians both understood the CERN iconography showed. So did the Vedic rishis, the Hindu people, the ancient Hindu rishis. And symbols of the Christ is also the same CERN that we're looking at when we're observing the particle accelerator. And I showed that the NFL draft literally had a particle accelerator as the stage. That shit was weird. Nobody spotted that. I showed that on Patreon. I don't know who caught that. and everything is about the lesser magic rituals of the eclipse. The movie Civil War was whack. It was trash. Civil War is trash. So we were going to cover that, but it was pretty trash. So I think their job is to build these movies up, then rig them to make us mad. And they put the science in some of the movies, but I think it's to literally separate the mindset of people. So if it's real bad, people won't even look at it. They'll just call it stupid and troll it. But they may put a little bit of gems in there, and that's how they keep advanced information out. They just make it so bad you don't want to watch it. You know? Talk about black sun radiation here. They came out with sun ships, solar eclipse, more predictive programming. But yeah, I got some stuff I'm gonna go into. So at the end of April, we entered into a new dimension because there was these palindrome dates. Every date in reverse equals the same date in reverse, if that made sense. So everything was a palindrome. That means we entered into a rare dimension around that time. I told Patreon about that. Very powerful times. We had came out of Amavasya around then. So you were in auspicious times in those periods to do certain things, you know, on a subatomic level with your subconscious. Work those particles. The meditation is to move the energy in a certain area so you can master it. So without meditating, you're stagnant. Just like if you don't work out, if you don't work your mind, you become stagnant. So when you enter into rare new dimensions, that's why you got to pay attention to the movement of the constellations, stars, or something that's not prototypical like this date, these palindrome dates. You'd be surprised. You know, what type of energy you can receive. You said it was a lot of negative energy released during the eclipse. People around me are getting weirder than they already are. I think they were weird before the eclipse. You said I stayed in my house and stepped out and looked at it for a second. So yeah, let me move on. So they show like these white horses, these white and black horses running through London, these riderless military horses. We broke down some of the gematria equal 33 off the vehicle shown in the same pictures. But the white and black horse also represents the Masonic floors, and then it has blood on it. And I noticed this was a few days, like a week after OJ. And OJ drove the white Bronco, so that represents the white horse as well. You know, OJ was in the white Ford Bronco truck after Nicole Simpson's death, and the Kendrick Lamar diss has something to do with OJ Simpson, because the OJ Simpson trial was the biggest trial in American history. It was literally the judgment scene in the Osirian text of Mayat. And for him to get cleared as a black man, quote unquote, you know, that upset it. That wasn't the standard, because everybody knew that he was going to be, you know, persecuted. When really, I don't even think he did it. If he did it, I would, you know, say that he did it, just like we look at Diddy and these other people. But I don't even think the guy did it, really. I think they were murdered by Colombian drug lords at the Mussolini. Nicole and the other guy, they had a big drug bill. So I don't even think OJ did it, really, but it was metaphysical, and the reason why he wasn't charged for that stuff. But they did end up putting him in jail. There's always a humiliation ritual. They're going to get the melanated people. They put him in jail for stealing his own shit. How you put me in a jail for stealing something somebody stole from me? And by the way, the four horsemen of apocalypse is all constellations. I showed that also on Patreon. There's still constellations. We'll break down some more constellation stuff once we get into the Drake and Kendrick beef. Let's move on to the next part. So also during this eclipse, I do, recognize some weird stuff happened to that brother that was in the chat. There was a mother who pushed her kids from the car on the 405 and killed her partner, injured the child. She was an astrology influencer online who was disturbed by the solar eclipse. So it definitely was a ritual sacrifice. I don't know if she did it. I don't really know what was going on with that, but I did do the gematria and show some stuff that lined up that was kind of weird with her. So they did do something that was like the biggest story that came out of it, but it goes back to that demon syndrome, demon face syndrome. They had some stuff going on around that time. And let me put the video on. We'll watch this video about how they can put a person like her under mind control, because they really was spraying them skies with the barium, strontium, aerosol. They were spraying heavy during the eclipse. We couldn't see the eclipse for at least 2 hours. We saw it like the last hour to 30 minutes. I mean, we didn't go outside to see it, but the skies were just covered, So let's look at some information to how they can use MK Ultra scalar wave energy weapons and put people under mind control.
How could chemtrails cause mind control? Well, what people don't realize is that your consciousness is governed by light. Mm-hmm. Light comes in through your eyes and hits your pineal gland.
You have to have that.
And you have to have it. And the pineal gland is the center of consciousness. It's the center of the soul, Descartes said. Okay? And so light, the color of light, changes your consciousness. And if the sun is changing, then it's possible that our consciousness is changing. It could be that the changing nature of the sun over the last 20 years is what's causing the Great Awakening that's happening. And they know that the Great Awakening is happening. Previous to our other conversation about archons, what if the archons realized that the changing nature of the sun was going to wake people up and they're going to find out about them? What do? That's what they do. They spray the skies.
Very interesting. So it could be like a mind parasite, like the Watiko in American Indian mythologies, a mind parasite that is the archons, and they'll program the humans and their genetics to create these type of devices or plans. These deviant plans can be available as thought forms because of the mind parasite to cover out the sky. And literally, we probably haven't seen the sky since beyond the 90s. We're probably not even looking at the sky, because also it's not just chemtrails. I spoke about it on Brother Sanchez. There's nanoparticles, and the nanoparticles, they work like a semiotic agent. Whereas what if the nanoparticles can cast holography and create Project Bluebeam events, where it's projecting something in the sky that looks real, that's not even real. That's probably why UFO activity, UAP activity has increased over the past 10 years. They've used the nanoparticles to unite and cast a holography in the sky, which can cause illusions to appear, because the ultimate agenda of Project Bluebeam in the first place is to fake the second coming of Christ in the sky. And you're damn right, in Three Body Problem, that's exactly what they did. So the guy is on to something, but we a little bit more. We got a little bit more than what he's talking about. Because we read geoengineered transhumanism, the nanoparticles are preparing the soul to be transferred into a transhuman existence through virtual realities, real Matrix shit. That's why I got to call Sophia Stewart, the creator and owner of the Matrix and the Terminator series, at least once a month to go into her mind to see how this thing plays out. And she reconfirms everything. They just mentioned her name on the new J. Cole mixtape. One of the guys mentioned her name, one of those songs, and she was real excited about that. So she's still relevant in today's time because what she laid out, she's the one who gave us the Matrix. It wasn't the Wachowski brothers. She was the one who gave us the Matrix. She's the mother. And she was explaining advanced technologies like nanoparticles casting holography way back in the 1980s in her books. Nobody was talking about merging humans with machines to the degree that she did. That's why the Terminator series was so big. And she's the creator and owner. But three body problem did do that. They put that in there. I'm probably going to show some of it in a minute. Let me finish this video real quick.
Everywhere. I have a friend who just was traveling through Europe last week, 2 weeks straight in Europe. I go to Europe all the time. I used to never see chemtrails in Europe. He said the skies were filled with them. I have a friend who lives in South Africa, Michael Tellinger. Same thing. He tells me the skies are filled with chemtrails now. It used to just be the United States, he said.
There's no clear days anymore.
There's no clear days anymore. And they've upped it. I don't know if you've noticed, but they've upped it. It's now much more spraying than there used to be, say, 3 years ago.
Right.
And the spraying is different. They've really gotten sophisticated. This is some of the
thicker, everything.
Thicker, like that middle cloud there in that photograph. They've really gotten good with their with whatever technology they're using here, because now the skies are blocked all the time, and
that's more than one plane.
That
right?
is, I've seen 17 jets in the sky at once. Counted 17 jets in the sky. This is just a few weeks ago, and I think they're drones. I think now they're just
doing drones.
Just drones flying back and forth. And how much does this operation cost? I ask you. Gazillions? I mean, how much can it cost to fly planes all over the earth, dropping aerosols on top?
And why did they hide this? Why did they suppress this?
Because we would panic. We would go into a panic if we found it. Also, if they're suppressing our consciousness, then they don't want us to know.
Right.
So they ridicule us who bring it up, and they say, you're crazy, you're a tinfoil hat person.
Hey, dude was spitting though. That's why I couldn't pause the video. But I wasn't saying that she created the concept of the Matrix. I was talking about combining the transhumanism, VR, into the actual motion picture. Philip K. Dick, he came from another time. I know who Philip K. Dick is. He did do a lot. The Matrix was in the Bible and other books for like thousands of years. So I'm not saying, even Plato was talking about Plato's cave and all that. It's been talking about a matrix or a simulation. So he said Atlanta gets sprayed crazy. So I had an African tell you 2017, Atlanta sky looks different back from their home. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. So there you have it. There you have it. So they came out. How could the eclipse have been fake? Scientists come up with a project to create a on-demand solar eclipse. Let's go through this because we got the info. I even got the patent. I don't know if I put the patent files in here. I didn't think it was necessary, but you can look up the patents. Look up patents for solar simulator. Excuse me, solar simulator. Solar simulator by the Geiger family. I think he originally owned it. Proba 3 mission will create an artificial eclipse to study the sun's corona. This will be achieved autonomously without relying on guidance from the ground. And they showed it in The Simpsons, of course, as they always do. But this is the blueprint of the model to show how it can occur. Making these target vector orient towards the sun and cast what's called a occultation down on the earth. I don't know if it's, out in space, if it's in the firmament. For you flat earthers, it doesn't really matter as long as it works. In the same day of the eclipse, they released Proba 3, the same damn day. You can look it up. We'll get to Kendrick and Drake later, man. That's easy work. It's easy work. So we're talking about coronagraph instruments. They have occulter disc, sun panels, optical heads, cosine sensors to make these probes imitate an eclipse. They even have another one called the Proba Vector. Looks like a box. That look like the black box. The Saturn box, Saturn matrix. Okay, thank you. Is 19630604 application. Yeah, the Kufel and Esser company bought it from Geiger. Yeah, you're right, iBrain RAM. They bought it from Geiger. So there's the patent number for you. That's the cube of Saturn. So yeah, they simulating eclipses out here. Yeah, we out here worrying about damn Drake and them. Speaking of Drake and Kendrick, notice the Alchemist made that last beat, and that's how I know it was a occult ritual. They had to get the Alchemist involved. I started laughing when I saw that. But yeah, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down for real for you guys, so y'all can get the real, what you should be looking at in a second, because I know people want to hear about that anyway. I want you to go watch the new season of them called The Scare. There's some high occult science. The Scare on Amazon Prime. We're going to break that down, some of that this week. So go get that new TV series. You probably need to look at part 1 to understand part 2. But that was a heavy TV series. Hold on, there's something I'm missing here. Something I skipped over. No, I think it is down here. Okay, it's probably down here. I did skip over it. Maybe that file didn't save. Oh, no, here it goes. Here it goes. I see it. So, new study claims that the Earth's core has stopped and may be reversing direction. So, they're toying with us because the core is called often, even in certain Nazi, the Thule Society, which is nothing about talking about the Rupus Nigra, the Black Sun. The Black Sun is nothing but the spin orientation of the core of the Earth. In old mythology, in old mythos, the Earth is always referred to something subtle of energies within the human body, because the human body is Earth. That's why in the tarot deck, there's no Earth card. Go look in the tarot deck. There's no Earth card because you're dealing the cards and you represent Earth. That's the esoteric secret of it. You always represent Earth. So them saying that the spin or the direction of the core reversing a direction. They're speaking about the spin orientation of the quantum dot, the Bindu Bija seed. In their black box technologies, the scalar wave weapons, the chemtrails, the quantum dots, the Q dots the guys talked about, it disrupts the synesthesia of our multi-rhythmic algorithm within those subtle bodies. Synesthesia is sound emitting tonalities that carry our inner vision to the conscious awareness of experiences we felt in life per note and sound, and our cells vibrate to the emittance. Let me show you something about that. Let me show you something real quick about the Bindu. So it says, in ancient times, when you see the symbol of the circle with the dot in its center, it was called the Godhead. It represented the portal out of creation, the portal of light, the infinite tunnel, and the source in which all is an aspect of. So you can see the circle was symbolic in a literal interpretation of infinite all. That is the Bindu seed. The Bindu seed deals with constellations, cosmograms inwardly of our energy centers. Like Bobby Hemmett used to say, what's happening out there in the constellations and space is happening inside of us. That's the secret. Now, if you want to talk astrologically, so we are the tree of life. We are the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Orion is the reason why the Hindu Indians put that marking on their forehead, that dot. That marking, or that Bindu seed replication, is where the elliptical light needs to transfer. I'm talking metaphysical, through each month to get adaptation to the universal current for you to become a god in the physical body. There's 4 ventricles depicted inside of the brain that represents the river next to Orion called Eridanus. It's actually called Jeridanus, the river of Jordan. And it's crazy because out there in Israel and the stuff going on with Palestine, the river of Jordan is right next, or it separates both of those countries or something like that. So ultimately, we want to get into Orion metaphysically, which is the optic thalamus. And it flows through Eridanus, which is our subtle bodies, like water, cosmic fluidity. And there's something called chrism oil, cortisol fluid, that comes from the colostrum in the brain. That's where Santa Claus gets his name from, because the colostrum bears gifts to the nations, and Santa Claus gives gifts. The saints are representative of the chakras. And the river Eridanus goes all the way to the foot of Aquarius. That's where the chrism oil pumps through the sacral and the 5 bone joint area inside of us. Then is returned back to Orion through the Eridanus River for a person to become illuminated. The shin on the person and feet are Aquarius and Pisces. The water bearer is representative also a Pisces, but it is the River Jordan, where man and fish drinks and swims. That's why Jesus was baptized when he was in the River Jordan. He's the symbol of the Vesica Pisces, and when he's in the Orion constellation, he is the optic thalamus as well as Orion, because Orion is Osiris. So the 4 rivers are broken up in sacred geometry. And all of this is old classes on Patreon, but I just wanted to refresh your mind on that. So that's how the Bindu seed works. And that means every day there's this chrism oil flowing through your body and corresponding with your DNA to activate conscious fields, whereas without you being consciously aware of it, they wouldn't be activated. So when they talk in masonry of the ladder up to God, this is literally the ladder is representative of you and your consciousness. It's a frozen pole that reaches from your mind all the way outside of the primal sound light fields, which is at the tip top of the galaxy, if there is a tip top, the edge of the galaxy, quote unquote. You say, how can a study make a claim like that about the Earth's inner core? I don't know. It's a question for science. So did you hear about the tornado spinning in reverse? I think I did something about that tornado in Sulphur, Oklahoma. So in the Chinese Year of the Dragon, how many people this year committed suicide by fire? That's MK Ultra at its finest. When we were talking earlier about CERN causing demon face syndrome, and an astrologist murdered her family, it's probably through the energy weapons. And why are these people setting themselves on fire in the Year of the Dragon? You know, dragons spray fire. Then they had the Mother of Dragons comet I was showing earlier, and that's representative as well as consciousness. So we're just getting in some metaphysics so you can understand what that is. Here's the Mother of Dragons. Still talking about consciousness. All of these, the Mother of Dragons comet was an activation inside of us. It was a sign that all of these synchromystic mentionings of dragons is speaking about pre-energetic forms that I'm going to talk about later once I get deep into the science. Because dragons in history, now we can get into the Drake stuff. If you look at dragons in history, they're comparative to a bridge. They're also comparative to earthquakes as well. Now, we did have a bridge. We had a bridge incident, you know? Yup, Tiamat. You said it was psyops. It could be psyops. But let's just say if it was real. The symbol was bigger than the psyop. It's just symbolism of the Year of the Dragon. But you could be completely correct. But they also had the Mountain Dew, pitch black. And then they came out with the Star Spangled Splash flavor is coming out this summer. That's because of, hold on, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which I didn't get I couldn't cover that on this channel, but I did cover it. I covered it on Donut and Sanchez. No, I think on Sanchez. We didn't get to do it. But the Francis Scott Key Bridge is connected to the Eclipse. It happened at 1:28 a.m. Bridge collapse equals 128. It happened 128 days before Francis Scott Key birthday, and he wrote the Star Spangled Banner. Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner. The ship that crashed into the bridge, the Dali, there was a poet by the name of Salvador Dali who wrote The Broken Bridge, you know, and this poet also wrote his most famous work called The Persistence of Memory. I don't think I put that picture in there. Let me show you this. Okay, here it goes. So his name's Salvador Dali. The ship was named Dali. And it shows the melting of clocks. And that's what CERN is doing. CERN is disturbing or symbolizes, this picture symbolizing the disruption of the space-time continuum. So this author had a lot to do with the PSYOP. He was a Freemason. He also was an occultist. Then you had the Rainbow Bridge explosion in Niagara Falls. Remember that Tesla lab explosion. But if you look at from Francis Scott Key's, the Francis Scott Key bridge collapse from Alicia Keys, who performed at the Super Bowl with Usher, was exactly 2 months, 0 weeks and a day. It still is 201. It represents 201. So 2 months and a day could represent 201. So you have the connection to the keys. Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed on Pope Francis' 88th birthday. It was 266 days from the 88th birthday, and Pope Francis is the 266th Pope. So there's a lot that line up with that bridge. But like I said, dragons are representative of that. Of bridges. Bridges are representative masonically of that. But I don't want to get too deep because you guys probably heard a lot of that on other podcasts. But I'll also show they had the Knights of Templars mark on the side of the ship, and they had the 33 on the front of the hull of the ship. Some decoders won't be able to catch some of that. And the mayor of Baltimore, he was born on he was assumed in office he was born on 4/8. He was assumed in office on 12/8, like 128, like the bridge. And remember the Leave the World Behind movie, they had an eclipse in it. So him being born on 4/8 means a lot. And in the Leave the World Behind movie, you had the cargo ship that crashed called the White Lion, which equals 128 as well. And then the TV, what was it? A TV series? It was a movie. It's TV series, Three-Bodied Problem. I don't think I put that picture in here, but they had a ship crash as well. This is all connected. Then they announced the week prior that there was a 4-dimensional phantom, going back to the beginning of the video when I told you about my father introducing me to the phantom. But they said that there was a phantom, quote unquote, in CERN's superproton synchrotron revealed by scientists. So there was some type of entity in the goddamn CERN machine, or this synchrotron, which I think is the same thing as CERN. Ghost in a shell. Also, dragons is associated with menstrual pain and earthquakes. Remember the woman, the child, and the dragon in Revelation chapter 12. Remember they said during the eclipse, women were experiencing menstrual pains. Well, in Chinese mythology, dragons are eclipses. Says the Chinese believe that solar eclipses occur when a legendary celestial dragon devours the sun. They also believe that this dragon attacks the moon during lunar eclipses. It was a tradition in ancient China to bang drums and pots, use firecrackers, even shoot arrows in the sky, all in the effort to frighten away the dragon. So it's very much connected to that. So now you understand why. So this is what you want. Why the dragon is important, because Drake is the dragon. Let me explain this. Drake is the dragon. It's the Chinese astrological year of the wood dragon. I'm not saying literally he's not a wood dragon. He's a tiger. I think he's like a water tiger. And Kendrick is a rabbit. But there's some things that still line up, because Drake means dragon in transliteration. Kendrick's alias is Kung Fu Kenny. Kendrick's alias is Kung Fu Kenny. All rappers spit fire like dragons. So it's all about spitting fire, right? It's esoteric. Now I'm going to take you through this thing. Drake is Scorpio. Kendrick's Gemini. This is representative of Joe Biden and Donald Trump, whether you want to look at it that way or not. So there's a lot of light path, destiny numbers that aligns with why Drake is going against Kendrick right now. This is about darkness and light, because Kendrick, he's referencing Drake's biracial identity. But really what it's about is exposing Drake, and Kendrick is representative of a Christ figure exposing the pedophile industry that's being hidden. Now, to me, it's still a script, because I don't think that it's over. I think this thing is going to continue within the year or years to come. There's things that are going to come out, but for right now, it's safe to say that it's over, that Kendrick actually won this beef as of last night. Now, Kendrick is the dark-skinned person in this duel. Drake is light-skinned. Of course, he's biracial, but Kendrick represents the light and Drake represents the dark. And Freemasonry is all about a inversion ritual. It's all about inversion. They always flipping stuff inside out. So these are the tracks that were released in the disc. Now, Like That was released. That's what started all of this. There was a track called Like That, was released 2 months, 22 days from Kendrick's birthday. Order out of chaos equals 222. Order out of chaos equals 222. Drake dropped his disc Push-Ups. He had a disc called Push-Ups where he showed that Kendrick's size shoe is 7. Kendrick's life path number is also 7. And Drake is called the 6th God. So it's the 7, the godly number, versus the 6, the demonic number, light versus darkness again. But Drake dropped Push-Ups on April 19th. That's 188 days from his October 24th birthday, his Scorpio birthday. Bavarian Illuminati equals 188. Drake is trying to become the greatest of all time. Kendrick is trying to become the greatest of all time. Greatest of all time equals 188. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, who is, he's called the GOAT, or the greatest of all time, he equals 188. His name equals 188. So the 188 was important. Yeah, I know it started a first-person shooter, but that was kind of light. They didn't really diss each other. It was more like, that wasn't really nothing. But Euphoria which was Drake's response to push-ups, was 48 days from Kendrick's birthday. Now, what's interesting here, if I put Euphoria in the gematria calculator, Euphoria equals 48, and this diss track was released 48 days from Kendrick's last birthday. That's crazy. Or till Kendrick's birthday, 48 days to Kendrick's birthday. So from the day of its release to Kendrick's next birthday would be 48 days. It was released 177 days from Drake's next birthday. And 177 equals Jesuit order. Now, you guys, have you ever watched Euphoria, the show? People are already breaking this down, but Euphoria, Drake is an executive producer on the show, and it's basically about teenage kids living like a adult lifestyle, dealing with drug addictions, sexualization, other problems, other worldly problems that children don't prototypically, they don't have to deal with. I'm trying to find the TV. This is it right here. I think so. I don't know. I haven't watched it before, but I heard people just talk about it a lot. They said it's like too much. It's too much going on sometimes in that show. So, Euphoria. And what's happening, Drake is being called a pedophile. I'm going to explain that now. I'm going to explain it in a minute. Well, Drake is the executive producer about this show, sexualizing children and drug addiction. And Kendrick also claims Drake has a drug problem like his father, or a pill popping problem. But this 616 song that Kendrick drops is super esoteric. So 616 was released on Tupac's birthday because Drake used Tupac's AI voice to diss Kendrick, which was disrespectful because now you're integrating the AI to be dead people. And that's what I said would be the future of what they're going to do. They're going to just start using people's dead voices and make these AI rappers and stuff like that. So Kendrick names the song 616 and he puts like a glove on the cover. I'll explain that in a second. But Nicole Simpson, her burial was on 616, and OJ is connected with the gloves that he put on the cover. And his trial started on the 16th. And the first Euphoria episode was on this 6/16. So it's very much connected and symbolic. But what people didn't really catch is that in Proverbs 6:16, there are 6 things that the Lord hates. And in the previous song, Euphoria, Kendrick talked about everything he hated about Drake. And he's basically exuding to himself being a presence of a godly figure judging Drake. Remember, Drake's life path number is 6 and Kendrick's is 7. And Drake is called what? The 6th God. Well, he calls himself the 6th God. $616 is also the original mark of the beast. They also said that it's National Canadian Father's Day because he's alluding that Drake doesn't take care of his son Adonis. Adonis is a Greek god as well, so there's some esoteric stuff with his name. It's also the date of one of Michael Jackson's last on-camera last on camera rehearsals, and the rest already covered. Okay, I'm getting through the little minute stuff so I can get to the more complicated stuff. Let me see if I did that already. Okay, yeah, I did do that. So why is this year about the downfall of Drake and P. Diddy? Both connected to P. Diddy, not P. Diddy, polar symbolism and pedophilia. Well, Drake is representative of Draco, Ursa Minor, Ursa Major. Ursa Minor, Ursa Major is by each other. But Draco is representative of the dragon from the north. So Drake represents the dragon from the north in the year of the dragon. Why are y'all deleting messages so much? What are y'all doing? I don't know why y'all delete messages. Everybody getting deleted. So all this info you're sharing can be found on Twitter. Ain't nothing I'm about to say can be found on Twitter. All of what I just said, but ain't nobody talking about Drake being the dragon from the north. I guarantee you that. It says, why are polar star mythological representatives used by the elites as esoteric batteries? Drake is the dragon in the year of the dragon. He's from the north of America, which is Canada. Now, Diddy is called, cartoon Diddy is called Diddy Kong. He's the monkey. And you have a lot of symbolism with the monkey god this year. Why? You have Planet of the Apes coming out this year. You got Planet of the Apes. You have Monkey Man. Hold on, let me pull these movies up for you. You got Planet of the Apes being released this year. Planet of the Apes, Kingdom of the Planet of Apes is coming out. You have this big time movie about to come out called Monkey Man. So you have Monkey Man here. And you have what? King Kong versus Godzilla. King Kong versus Godzilla. So Drake is Godzilla. Diddy is King Kong because he's Diddy Kong. Drake is Draco, and they're both being called what? Pedophiles, sexual abusers, whatever, sex trafficking. They're both being accused of the same thing. Diddy is actually getting investigated, but they're setting Drake up for the future investigation. Now, ain't nobody on Twitter said that shit, right? Now, why is the monkey important? You like, why is monkey important? In Chinese mythology, the monkey king is the rival to the dragon. The monkey king is the rival to the dragon. Su Wukong. Or Sun Wukong. Yeah, Sun Wukong. Okay. Now what dragon year is it? Speaking of Diddy and Drake and pedophilia and sexual allegations, this year is the Wood Dragon year. The Wood Dragon year. Wood, when you think of wood, that is indicating a phallic arousal. Phallic arousal. When they say you have morning wood, you have a phallic arousal. So that's also solar worship. But the wood is representative of the pedophilia sexual allegations. Okay. Okay, so you already know Godzilla versus King Kong. So this all started with a pole star Symbolic Character by Cat Williams, which Kendrick Lamar just mentioned in his last diss, Not Like Us. Now, there's synchronicities with cats and dragons and cartoons and books. This is a book called The Cat and the Dragon. It's a Chinese book in the relationship between cats and dragons. But Cat Williams, notice his chain has the same ship him symbol, and this is connected to polar symbolism. I'm going to show you why. Cat Williams blew up after appearing on the movie Friday as the 201st contestant to audition for the role of Money Mike the Pimp. Now, what does a pimp hold? He holds a cane. A cane is a pole. So this is polar symbolism here. The cane represents the North Star. It represents the pole star. And he has a woke chain on. In the woke chain, you see this, how the ship him is supposed to direct the person towards the North Star. The North Star is also a symbolistic object of polar symbolism. But the lighthouse is the pole comparative to the ship him, in the North Star in this case. So ships look for the lighthouse out at sea to direct them, but the lighthouse is representative as the pole star, the North Star, to direct them. And same vice versa. What's going on, Truth Seeker? I see you up in there, man. But a pimp holds a cane. So, and his woke chain looks like the hem of the North Star, like a ship being directed towards North Star symbolism. And Cat said this year that he was going to bring light on all truths. Well, he said light will be brought on to truths being hidden in this industry. Now, Kendrick means king. And in the TV anime series Fist of the North Star, the character name is Ken. The main character is Ken. The North Star, which is Polaris. And also in Street Fighter, Ken is the brother to Ryu the Dragon. It's still about dark and light, metaphorically. Because Drake is the sixth god, like I said earlier. And OVO, the owl, is Moloch. And Moloch is a child sacrifice deity, but is also a symbol of pedophilia. It's also a symbol of pedophilia. So I always looked at that weird. Why does he have an owl as a symbol of his company? And I know he knows that the owl is connected to Bohemian Grove. These people that used to go out in these forests in California and do all type of sexual rituals and pedophile stuff. So now, what is the connection with Kendrick? The dragon connection with Kendrick is that Kendrick Lamar performed with the group Imagine Dragons during the day that they received their Grammy. Then you see the blood all over them. It's blood symbolism. He has this blood all over them in white. The white represents the purity. The blood is the initiation. So he performed with Imagine Dragons, and it's all connected. Now, this year, everything before the beef actually materialized with Kendrick and Drake. Drake was in a beef with an artist named Mos Def. Mos Def is part of a group called Black Star. I told you this is about Black Sun Wars. So him and Talib Kweli had a group prior called Black Star, and they used to talk about, you know, culturalistic Black struggles in life, coming up from the gutter and doing something with your life. So now you had, so people forgot that Kendrick started beefing with Mos Def first. It wasn't, everybody on the internet was clowning Mos Def for going at Drake first. Now Mos Def is a formidable MC, just like Kendrick. But they didn't want to see him because he's a little bit older. They didn't want to see that. So, and all Mos Def said was that Drake was a pop star. He wasn't lying. He just said Drake is pop. I don't think he's hip hop. He's pop, which means he's just for popular music. Now they had to put Mos Def in a humiliation ritual. They made him wear the dress with these weird shoes and jacket. This is right after he said that about Drake, and you could see the T-Ran's colors. And they had him in a dress earlier as well. And his name is Yasin Bey. There's a Moorish connection to him. Moorish, and Drake is the Jew. So going back to Drake and Diddy's comparison, Diddy's first name was Puff Daddy, which also alludes to the dragon. You know, Puff Daddy alludes to the dragon because a dragon puffs smoke, or, you know, mythologically, it puffs smoke through his nose. And he had the main single on the Godzilla album called Come With Me. So he had the single on the Godzilla album, and this year Drake and him is you know, they're connected with Godzilla and King Kong. Now, some other connections, the Diddy allegations didn't begin until his ex-girlfriend, Cassie, came out and began to say that Diddy was abusing her by making her watch Diddy do weird stuff. Oh, Puff the Magic Dragon? I didn't know that. Okay. But Diddy, so Cassie is a representative of Cassiopeia or Cassiopeia. And that's next to the star Polaris and Draco. You see that? So I'm showing you the synchromysticism with astrotheology of why these characters are being rolled out. This is not just by coincidence. It's connected to the star symbolism, and nobody on Twitter is going to show you that. They're not going to show you that. You see? Yeah, we know all of that stuff with the Baphomet. Y'all talking about semantics. You know, they stole our information and turned it into some deviant stuff. But it is representative. I-brain RAM is completely right. Let me look up this Puff the Magic Dragon y'all keep posting over and over. I don't know nothing about Puff the Magic Dragon. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And they got the rainbow in the background. I'm gonna have to look into this show. It's probably some research with this. But I've seen a lot of y'all putting Puff the Magic Dragon. So that's another connection to, you know, his name formerly being Puff Daddy in the year of the dragon. Some of y'all coming up in here late saying stuff. So Cassiopeia constellation is connected with Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, and that's connected to why Jonathan Majors got persecuted. You got him holding the mug, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. It's like a gorge or a cup. I think it's synchromistic, and his last name is Majors, like Ursa Majors. And Mos Def represented the Thelonious Monk that was connected in the beef. I could go deeper on that on Patreon. I'll go into that later. Now, Drake is a hit away from tying, I think he already did this, but he got Michael Jackson with the most #1 hits. And the beef goes back between Drake being Michael Jackson, Kendrick being Prince. So they're using artists from the 80s going into, you know, the 70s, 80s, 90s to be archetypes of their rap beef right now. I thought that was pretty interesting for them to incorporate that. Hold on, y'all typing some stuff. Puff the Dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings. He said, peace, Ani. Busta Rhymes calls himself the Dragon. He has an album with the Q-Tip called The Abstract and the Dragon. Any connections? Could be. I saw he had to cancel his tour. Busta Rhymes had to cancel his tour. So this is the Monkey Man connection. Don't forget that Akira Toriyama, who wrote Dragon Ball Z, which is about an alien monkey race of beings called Saiyans, he died at 68 years old on the 68th day of the year in his Dragon Ball Z. You get it? Dragon and the monkey, once again. And any little boy that holds like a pole in movies or mythology is a form of the Monkey King, Sun Wukong. So Avatar, it's a whole bunch of, I think it's in the new Godzilla movie as well. They're forms of the Monkey King. Now, the movie I want you to go back and watch is Pitch Black. I'm gonna go deeper into the Diddy thing in a minute. I think people need to understand that Diddy thing. But the movie Pitch Black had a lot of predictive programming. They had Vin Diesel in that movie. And it's about a distant dystopian future of the world, probably post-nuclear events. But they had a lot of solar eclipse symbolism. But there was a being called a bio-lizard. A bio-lizard, its head looked like an X when you look at it. So they were showing in the movie Pitch Black, which shows the solar eclipse. It was connected with the X. You know, these draconic creatures is also a dragon when you look at it. So they had the dragon and the X right here in the movie. You know? Also in the movie, they showed two suns. And when I looked at the woman, she was holding this looks like, you know, when I said that Biden names represents a bident. If you look up a bident is a two-pronged trident. And you have Biden in office right now. And the object she's holding the two suns on is a bident-like object. But the suns could represent the physical, spiritual, the black sun, in the solar simulator sun that we spoke about earlier. And also go back and get the movie How to Train Your Dragon. The pitch black dragon shoots electricity. So maybe it's talking about a eventual blackout, you know, with the indication of the dragon shooting electricity, some subtle signs, and it's a black dragon. I like How to Train Your Dragon. Oh yeah, and Pitch Black was released in the year 2000, which was another year of the dragon, by the way. So the movie was released in the year of the dragon. And it's interesting because it's about a biracial guy, just like Drake. So there's some stuff going on with Drake weird with this pedophilia accusation. I'm gonna play this video. The guy kind of curses a little bit. So, you know, people just got to curse a lot. I don't know why, but I'll play it.
First off, this like went on a date with an 18-year-old. It's a little creepy, but it's cool. She 18, whatever. It's weird, but it's legal. All right, bro. She was born in 2000, bro. Why the fuck is this flicked up with her in 2016, laying up on her, bro? And then as soon as she turned 18, they took her out on a date, bro. Dude, this shit blew my fucking mind when I seen this shit, bro.
So he was with some chick when she was 16, or he took a picture with her when she was 16. Then he took her out on a date and was kissing on her at 18. Now this is from a actual performance. Now some of this stuff is on Twitter where people were getting on him because back in like 2011 or 2012 he was on stage with a 17-year-old, and listen to what he says to her.
17? Why do you look like that? You thick. Look at all this.
He said, "You thick. Look at all of this."
Well, listen, 17. I had fun. I don't know if I should feel guilty or not, but I had fun. I like the way your breasts feel against my chest.
Says sorry, I don't know. He says he don't know if he should feel guilty. His heart is beating in his chest. This is some real weirdo stuff. I'm surprised they didn't crucify him earlier for this.
I just want to thank
And all those kisses was weird, man. It kind of makes me think, like, did they tell him to do that, or did they some MK Ultra? Because it was just very, very weird how he just kissed her, that 17-year-old girl, man. People were trolling DJ Academics. I thought that was a funny picture. But yeah, they just posting a bunch of photos with him and this girl. Then Kendrick said that Drake is hiding a daughter. They found this girl. Now she's throwing up the Illuminati sign, but they trying to say that Drake baited him and this girl isn't his daughter. Like Drake got some people in his team to give Kendrick false information. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of gossiping, but this girl name is Eternity Joy, and she's throwing up this Illuminati symbol. So that tells me they probably got her in some type of trafficking type thing. So how does he, why is she doing that? Why is she throwing that up at that age? That's some weird stuff. This is supposed to be Drake's daughter, you know, but they said that Drake purposely planted a mole to make Kendrick get false information. But Drake has always been seen with younger females. This is the girl from Stranger Things. She had Drake's personal number. They text every day, she said in an interview. So that's weird. Then Drake said in a post, "It's amazing. If amazing was a young B word, I'd be going to jail because I'm effing amazing." What does that mean? You know, what does that mean? That's very weird. It says rapper Drake may have a daughter. A Miami waitress has filed legal documents notifying the rapper he has agreed to a paternity test. It's back in 2015. Then we never heard anything else about it. Billie Eilish, which is an artist, tweeted one time, "I'm turning 18 tomorrow." Then Drake tweeted back, "I've been waiting." That's real creepy right there. I thought that was more creepier than the last one. That one's pretty creepy right there. I've been waiting. What? Imagine somebody told your daughter that. I was like, what the hell is that? What? Waiting on what? The hell damn Drake talking about? So y'all had no idea about this? Yeah, this is all on Twitter and stuff. You got to be on Twitter to know all of this stuff. Kendrick's not out of it either because the TDE owner, Top Dog, his name on Twitter is this word, and that equals 666. That's also polar symbolism because the top dog is the Sirius star. The Sirius star is called the dog star, and it's the top star of all stars, the brightest star in the cosmos. So top dog is more insinuation because Kendrick etymologically is called king. Kendrick is literally called king. And one thing I thought was weird, I pointed out with the J. Cole apology with the 26 jersey on. Let me show y'all that. J. Cole had an apology that everybody keeps clowning him about, but I think that this was actually orchestrated. I have a picture of it. Maybe let me try to find the picture. Okay, I know it's in my enlightenment course file. Give me 1 second, guys. It's all the Diddy allegations. Here it goes right here. So J. Cole apologized after he dissed Kendrick, and I showed how this was orchestrated. And apology in gematria equals 26. There's 26 letters in the alphabet, and rappers use the alphabet to formulate words into rhythmic vibrations of expression. So 26 letters in the alphabet, and Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick are called rap gods. God in gematria equals 26 because they're a god of wordsmith, as a wordsmith with words. They're some of the best on the planet to use words rhythmically with music. That's what a rapper is. What's the difference between a rapper and an MC? Black Dot was explaining that yesterday. An MC can literally give you a mathematical equation to inner spiritual vision of reality. A rapper just makes a hit song that you can emotionally vibe with. So there's less MCs than rappers. And Kendrick and J. Cole, I think, are more MCs than Drake, who's a rapper. But I'm just showing you that this was orchestrated with him wearing that jersey. I think that was kind of planned. But nobody wanted to see him in the beef now that it's gone this way now. So I'm just giving you the background to all of the symbolism. I think they all connected to some type of Jesuit Masonic faction, which is a must for you to be that big in the industry. So don't be surprised if something does happen with Kendrick as well. Don't think he's just going to ride off on a white horse and become the best rapper in the world. Say MC means master of ceremony. They had Drake with this weird outfit on, you know. And why are all of these rappers painting their fingernails? Like Drake has his fingernails. I think that's an agenda right there. So he has fingernails yellow here and he keeps painting his fingernails. He got pink fingernails here. It's just the weirdest thing with these puppets, you know. It's the weirdest thing. So Hold on. Let's see where I'm at. Also, I will be doing a full breakdown on Jaguar Wright. This is one of the biggest people talking on the Diddy subject. So if you want a full breakdown, gematria on the death of her son, connections to everything that she said, you will be blown away what I have to say about Jaguar Wright. So make sure you go to patreon.com/THE_spiritual shade room. Just make sure you go subscribe. All right, let me get some of these things closed out. Okay, let me show you what's going on with Diddy. Then we'll get into some metaphysics and close it out for the day. So remember, Diddy home was raided. I'm going to give you the gematria to this. So Diddy home was raided, and there's a lot of symbolism to why. I also show how Sean John equals 48, just like the eclipse. But before I get into all of that, notice Diddy released an album where he's dressed in all red. Remember, I talked about the red symbolism, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the 49ers, two red teams. Then you had Doja Cat come out with the song To Paint the Town Red. Taylor Swift had an album called Red, which is red this, red that. Who else? Somebody else just came out with something red recently. They keep showing Kendrick Lamar in red a lot, but it was somebody released something in red. I can't remember. You guys put it in the chat. But Diddy had an album called The Love Album Off the Grid. Now, he released this album under Love Records because he calls himself Brother Love. The Love Records symbol looks very weird. It looks like some type of sexual indication of something, like something hidden. If you kind of look at it, this looks very, very weird. Yeah, sexy red too. Got sexy red. Yeah, that's a good one. But I'm like, what is this? I'm like, well, when you look at it, you kind of understand. But he released this album under Love Records. The Love Album Off the Grid equals 234. The Order of the Illuminati equals 234, both in the purest ciphers, just like Mark of the Beast. Love Records is under Bad Boy, and I'll get into Bad Boy later. So his homes were rated 144 days from his 54th birthday on, what is that, November 4th, 2023. So they were rated 144 days from his 54th birthday. Jesuit Order equals 144. Skull and Bones equals 144. Freemasonry equals 144. And yeah. Now his name is Sean John Combs. Sean John Combs equals 48. Illuminati equals 48. He was the owner of Ciroc, or the representative. Ciroc equals, no, he was the owner. He was the owner. I figured that out. Ciroc equals 48 and Eclipse equals 48. It's connected to the lover he was with, Young Miami, because Young Miami, which they're saying now that Young Miami is a sex worker or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but let me pull her up. I think her name is Carisha. That's what people know her as in the industry. So this is Diddy and her. Let me get a better picture. That might be a little bit more recent. I'm going to show you what they represent with each other. So Carisha is being accused of being a sex worker for him. Sex worker in gematria equals 48, just like Sean John Combs, Illuminati, also Rahu in Vedic astrology equals 48. I'm gonna explain that in a minute. And speaking of the eclipse here equals 33, the reduction cipher. And I'm gonna talk about why the Sirach case is so important to why they're doing this to him. But Sirach also equals 33 reverse reduction, and it equals 223 in satanic. So Diddy sold his Revolt TV shares after the raid of his house. Now he sold these TV shares. Let me show you how to calculate this. You go to date calculator. So type in his last birthday, which would be 11/04/2023. Hold on, let me see here. Supposed to be counting days. Okay. Knew something was wrong. 2/03/26/2024. If you calculate that, you get that's 20 weeks. You got to add duration. There's no duration added. So that's 20 weeks and 4 days. Right here, I'm highlighting it for you. Well, if he sold it between 20 weeks and 4 days, what's interesting about that is that Revolt TV shares, which is what he sold, equals 204 in the purest cipher, which is English ordinal. 20 weeks, 4 days, 204. Okay. Diddy was born on National Candy Day, sweets. I don't know. Use that how you want. He was born on National Candy Day. Diddy played his first Broadway role on TV in a series or a movie called Raisin in the Sun. Now, this is astrological because Diddy's current age right now is 54, the same age that R. Kelly got persecuted. And Sun in gematria is 54 in the purest cipher. Also, Revolt shares equals 54 reduction. So he played his first Broadway role, and there was an actor that died right after his house got raided. One of the stars of Raisin in the Sun was a man named Louis Gossett Jr. Louis Gossett Jr. passed away. He was in Raisin in the Sun, the first Raisin in the Sun. Now, why is Raisin in the Sun important? Let me show you this. Okay, so in Raisin in the Sun, Diddy plays a character named Walter Lee Younger. Walter Lee Younger is the new man of the household due to his father's passing. He is a son, a father, a brother, and a husband to other characters in the play. But check this out. His dream is to become wealthy, and he plans to do that through an investment with a liquor store with his friends. So let me get into how the liquor store owner is a strip for the Jesuits for Diddy to play this role that Louis Gossett Jr. Louis Gossett Jr. died on the 88th day of the year. That's 3/29. He was the first one to play Walter Lee Younger. His name equals 88. He died on the 88th day of the year. He died 59 days from his birthday. That's 1 month, 28 days. That's the 128 code. All right. So how is this connected? Let me do the astrology first. Then I'll get into the rest. So you look up the house raid. They show Diddy's sons getting detained here by the police during the house raid. Okay. In a eclipse, everyone, the sun is arrested by Rahu and Ketu in mythology. In the Vedic astrology. That's the sun is in Pisces and Virgo, but in mythology, Rahu and Ketu symbolically is a snake or a serpent, a naga that swallows the sun or the moon, and the light from the luminaries diminishes or completely disappears. So in this case, Diddy's sons, you get it, are being detained and arrested and not him. So that's also representative of the luminary bodies. But the Earth's shadows have hidden energies, and Rahu and Ketu are the karmic nodes that hold our cravings, our desires, our disappointments and losses. Their elusive power shapes our destiny, but will eventually lead us to desire spiritual freedom. So Diddy's home raid is a part of his humiliation ritual to move on to the next level of his priesthood. Because this solar eclipse that's coming next is in Pisces, it's occurring in the 8th house from his moon, which the 8th house is the house of secrets and hidden sorcery. Why is that important? That's because Diddy equals 28. Pisces equals 28 as well. Sean Combs equals 28. And even the woman he's with, Carisha, she equals 28. And there's 28 days in a menstrual cycle and in the moon's transit. So Diddy's alleged partner or paid prostitute signifies the sacred whore mythologically, which is the moon. So I just gave it to you. Carisha is the moon. Diddy is the sun. She is the sacred whore. She's a sacred prostitute. Nobody's going to give you that. Nobody's going to give you that. I guarantee you that. Now, Diddy equals 91. Pisces is 91 gematria as well. I don't need to show you that. So our recent lunar eclipse was in Virgo. So back in, not the one in April 8th. Back in 2023, we had an eclipse in Virgo. When that eclipse occurred, Virgo was in the 2nd house from his moon. And the 2nd house is where his family and his net worth is. So the Pisces Virgo axis is also the 2nd and 8th house of his destiny chart, which further sinks the reoccurring theme that all 4 eclipses this year will occur in Virgo. We had an eclipse in March. We had one in April. We'll have one in September and October. There's 4 eclipses every year, guys. It's just sometimes you can or cannot see them. So that means in his 54th year, this year, based on looking at the astrology, his secrets are being exposed to degrade his family's reputation and family worth, but he will graduate to another level of dark arts, it says. I think Kalini told me that. Yeah, she told me that. So he's going to graduate into another level of dark arts. So let me go down, let me skip down. So Diddy's federal search warrant raid happened on National Tap Dance Day. So the raid was on National Tap Dance Day. You probably say, what does that got to do with anything? Diddy is a professional tap dancer. A lot of people don't know that. Diddy is a professional. This one, I forgot this guy's name. They told me the guy's name on Patreon, but he's one of the best tap dancers too, the guy he's tap dancing with. But this is in the video all about the Benjamins in Miami. He's with Young Miami, right? And the house raid was in Miami. Well, no, the house raid was in another home. I forgot which home that was, but he fled to Miami. He fled to his moon during the solar eclipse. He went to his moon, Carisha. He went to his moon. But the All About the Benjamins video, the movie, I mean, the All About the Benjamins movie was in Miami. It was filmed in Miami, but it's based off the song by Diddy called All About the Benjamins. And you see Ice Cube and Mike Epps popping up in a lot of different dramas during this year. Mike Epps was in the drama with Shannon Sharp. Ice Cube was in the drama with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is connected to rituals too, because the Iowa Hawkeyes is the Eye of Horus. People were calling her, saying that she may be a T-Ran's inversion Masonic rituals. Hawkeyes. And Ice Cube was trying to sign her to the Big Three League. The Big Three, I'll break that down another time. But this movie, All About the Benjamins, was filmed 143 days after his November 4th birthday, when all of his estates were raided. Scottish Rite Freemasonry equals 143. President Kamala D. Harris, 143. Federal Reserve, 143. Now on 5472 date numerology, Diddy, there's something going on with Diddy. Well, this is another thing I wanted to point out. When he went to Miami, he took his daughters on vacation. And notice his daughters were never arrested. That's also representative of the solar eclipse, the feminine aspect being free and the solar aspect being arrested. That's also representative of that. So you have to look at that for its symbolism. But on 5472 date numerology, by the way, Jesuit order equals 5472. What is this all about? You're asking Ani, what is the Diddy thing all about? It's all about Diageo. It's all about this liquor company that's connected to his character and Raisin in the Sun. Diageo is a PLC beverage company that Diddy had a racial lawsuit on like last year. Now, Diageo PLC equals 72. The chairman of Diageo, Javier Ferran, equals 72. Diddy's birthday is on the 308th day of the year, and Diageo was founded in 1997, the year of Biggie's death, or the Life After Death album. So Diageo, the liquor company, was founded the same year of Biggie's death. Wow. Which is December 17th. That's 3 months and 8 days before Diddy's witch hunt. And Diddy's birthday is on the 308th day of the year. Now, they call Diageo, the liquor company, repetitively in articles I read and in the lawsuit, a British beverage giant. So type in British beverage giant, and you get the 201. And if you know, you should know what the number 201 means by now. You should know. If you don't, you know, it is what it is. So rapper and producer Diddy says that the company Diageo undermined a joint venture by marketing key products of Ciroc and De Leon as black brands. So he's saying that they typecasted his brands. So the official case of Diageo saying that Diddy is filing claiming that Combs Wines and Spirits plan to seek billions of dollars in damages due to Diageo's neglect and breaches in a separate lawsuit. Combs even claimed that Diageo proposed downplaying his connection to Ciroc with the goal of rolling back its image of being an African-American brand. So there you go. So the original lawsuit included the claim that Combs frequently flagged specific examples of matters that were racially insensitive. Diageo ignored him and worse, repeated the same racially. There's a charged example he gave in court. Per the suit, Combs said that Diageo needed to be careful about rolling out a watermelon commercial along with the brand that he said in court that it consistently is characterized as an urban African-American brand, and rolling it out, you know, whatever commercial they had must have been racially insensitive. So he claims that in court. Now, look at this. It says, first of all, the day that he was raided was the same day of the Kick in the Door release. So the cops kicked in his door. The same day Diddy released Kick in the Door for his album. Notorious Biggs. So I think a lot of people saw that. He's accused of sex trafficking. That's 152. Now this is something big as well. So Bad Boys had a vote or die campaign in 2004. So vote or die 2004. Isn't this a voting year? This is a voting year, right? You remember Diddy did that marathon. He ran, I don't know how many miles he ran for it, and he showed how his foot had blisters and everything. That was a ritual. They made him do that. But the thing about it, he owns Bad Boy. And this year, they just announced that Bad Boys Ride or Die, it came out a day. The trailer came out a day after Diddy was arrested, and nobody's seen that. You get it? Bad Boys. You know? So in Bad Boys is about them being Miami cops. Diddy was in Miami. But ultimately, this thing is about that lawsuit, because in that lawsuit, Diddy was going to get billions of dollars, y'all. They settled. They gave Diddy a large amount of money. I don't know how much Diageo gave him, but they gave Diddy a large amount of money. And I think that's when his Illuminati card got revoked. So if y'all wondering what happened, it was over that Diageo. Whatever happened with Diageo got his card revoked. And that probably shifted the Illuminati's or the Jesuits Catholic Church plans for him. And they said, nah, we got to kill his character now. Because they have candidates of who does the humiliation rituals, and they can just switch around the slates how they feel and assassinate your character. So that's what happened with him. So let me get back to this thing. All right, let's get into the lecture. We press for time. Press for time now. So I got a lot of stuff to do today. A lot of things I wanted to get in with you guys. Make sure you're watching the X-Men 97. A lot of metaphysics in this thing. Whole lot of metaphysics. Last episode was crazy. What Magneto did. That was crazy. You know, to watch X-Men 97. They're about to come out with this Fairly Odd Parents, A New Wish. I'm going to be very skeptical about that. I don't know what they already see. They already got the boy in the trans colors. When I seen it was I don't know if this is a boy or a girl. Is this a boy or a girl? That's when you start to question that, you already know the fix is in. They should have left Fairly Odd Parents where it was. You know? You already know what's going on with that. You see some other things that was going on before I start talking about some stuff. They're about to come out with From Season 3. You got to see this thing. This is Kabbalistic Caliphotic Science. And the brother, what is his name? Harold Perrineau or something like that. He's playing the hell out that character, man. It's a lot of secrets of melanin. It's a lot of stuff revealed. And they got the monsters coming from underground. They got all types of stuff in this thing. So season 3 will be released this fall. So you gotta wait and check that out. I already told you to watch Shogun. Shogun was a big ritual as well, but there was a lot of metaphysics you can get out of it. I did a mini breakdown of that. And the one thing I noticed, they had him kill the same guy he killed in, what was the movie with Keanu Reeves in the Samurais? What was it, 48 Ronins? "47 Ronin." He killed the same guy in 47 Ronin that he did in Shogun. That was a ritual. I don't know why they keep having them kill. It's something with their astrology I have to look into, but he didn't have to kill this guy in Shogun. He really didn't have to kill this guy. Oops. I'm tripping. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, guys, is one more thing with Drake. Did y'all know Drake's grandfather is Mr. AIDS? Check this out. South Africa, Mr. AIDS, Reuben Scher dies. The grandfather of AIDS. His father is called his granddaddy is called the grandfather of AIDS in South Africa. Reuben Scher passed away Monday. Now, it's not saying he has AIDS. It says that he was an immunologist who had been in a semi-retirement for the last few years, but he had been remembered by colleagues who he first introduced to the AIDS epidemic in South Africa. So they said like he was like one of the people warning the Africans there, South Africans there, about a AIDS epidemic or something like that. But they call him Mr. AIDS. I thought that was kind of weird. Y'all can do y'all research on that. This is a club he dedicated to his grandfather. So here's confirmation. Drake called the club after his grandfather's last name, Scher, Reuben Scher. Scher Club. I'm pretty sure Kendrick might talk about this. I'm probably getting ahead of him. But this is what the club looks like. So I was just doing some research and I just came across that. I was like, why is nobody talking about this? That's interesting, right? That's some interesting stuff. Tell you how close knitted these characters is. This is what he looks like right here. Reuben Scher. So this is the father of his mother. Former director of South Africa's National AIDS Training and Outreach Program. Y'all calling him Fauci? All right, let's okay, that's what it was. I'm in the wrong. Let's go back over here. If we got time, we'll talk about some other stuff. All right, so I named the video Black Sun Wars because it's mainly about you accessing the black dot within the pineal gland. Accessing it is about creating a magical reality around your life. This black dot is renowned in all of mythologies and throughout civilizations. The iconography of the black sun, is still present today. Flat earthers get into that, even going back to what was going on with the Nazi regime and all of that. They hijacked that, from the, some of the not the Dalai Lama, but the untouchables. Mount Kilimanjaro was talking about some of that science. Then the American Indians had the science of the black sun and Shibalba. But ultimately, the black sun physics is umbrakinesis, which was the first video that I covered on this channel. And it's describing in analytical psychology our shadow. And our shadow is a ego dystonic complex that we have. It's where it's a repressed id, a shadow aspect or shadow archetype, which is the unconscious that you didn't give any attention or intention to. So it's unconscious parts of your mind that you don't give attention to. You buried it to protect your ego, and it becomes repressed parts of the shadow. And umbra means shadow, kinesis means motion. So maneuvering, through the shadow is bringing motion to it, to unveil certain things mentally to unlock your higher potential. So when you're dealing with the Qliphoth, I said this on Patreon, I went a little bit more in depth, that the Qliphoth is dealing with the repressed parts of the unconscious, the shattered vessels from the light side of the Kabbalistic tree of life, which represents the identity of what you look at yourself as in this physical world, separate from what your soul was in many lives and incarnations. The totality and the summation of what you really are is hidden in the shadow. It's not hidden in the world of astral light. The shadow in the dark realms. That's why all of the mythologies showed Osiris going into the underworld, or even Jesus in the Bible had to go to hell and take the keys from Satan. So you have to go internally, deep inside of the subconscious and the unconscious, and you have to deal with it. You have to deal with what you've been repressing so much that it's become a monster. So these archetypes are universal images that I'm showing. Well, not just right here, but I got a lot of pictures, but I don't feel like looking for it. But there's universal images that have existed since the remotest times. They're showing the eternal forms of the unconscious, comparable to the gods of the Homeric Greece and Kemet ages, of course, which belongs to the transcendent eternal realm. This further classified archetypes, which are according to their roles in our lives or their energetic qualities, defining them very much in the terms of their interaction with and influence on individual psychology. If we were to approach archetypes from a metaphysical perspective that viewed them as being in relationship between our experience and our psychology, we might be able to tap into a greater potential of development. So you're asking, why would you deal with the Qliphoth, the repressed parts of yourself? If you can transform yourself, because you'll meet the most scariest thing that you can meet deep in your mind, called chronozone or chronozon. They talk about it in the Hebrew, in the Jewish text. It's like the deeper you go in the unconscious and subconscious, something will respond. And this thing that responds was originally a depiction of what Satan was in the Hebrew Bible, called chronozon, the depths, the entity at the deepest depth of chaos. And they say once you reach this point, either you will face it and transform, or you will turn back and regress. It's either you're going to face it and you're going to matriculate through the shit, or you will turn around and be bitch made and say, nah, I don't want no parts of that. That's too scary. And then you regress and you wonder why nothing ever, happens in your life. You're trying to get out the rut of doing the same things in life, but you're not trying to transform into something else. So when you have the ability to identify the archetypal structure that you're taking on, the form and the diversity from the other structures, it not only makes room for a new experience of archetypical energy, but it also allows for the exploration into direct experiences of the archetype itself. That's a big playback. So the nature of reality cannot be understood, because all we can experience or be in a relationship with is our own projection. Reality becomes a concept open to interpretation by our own minds and collective consciousness. So this is always changing aspects of reality. We experience reality through trauma and bliss. The alchemy between both is to achieve a status in our states of negativity and positivity. One status enacts the supremacy of, or the subordination to one's spiritual condition. You are constantly changing the status point of your location along with the path to the Godhead. Our intuition has been regulated down to a comatose state. So this is important. We used to have a bicameral mind, guys. This is like right after Atlantis, because Atlantis wasn't even a physical state. I'm going to explain that in a minute. But when we first came into our first hominid forms, we were able, I think not in the second, or it's not through the first or the second root races. By the time we get to the fifth and sixth root races, we had a bicameral mind where literally when they said Yahweh spoke, or Zeus, whatever time frame you in, Ra, all of these entities, Gnosticism, all of this, the bicameral mind allowed for you to hear God speaking literally in your mind. Like imagine something God said, I told you to clean that shit up in your room. You looking around like, did he see that shit? So it was like a bicameral mind. You can look that up if you don't believe me. And the further we got away from that age, the electromagnetic field got, I guess denser, and we got cut off from that bicameral mind. But some people said that entity is not even there no more. If it's like what I explained with the hourglass, if the contents of the hourglass was at the top and you allow for the sand to pour down to the bottom portion, that means that all the contents that was up in the stars and constellations that were high energy, that we call God, or a super force of energy, is now here inside of us. That means we have transmuted back into that realm that we had access when we used to access God from the bicameral mind. We've become that realm now. You know? Hold on. We've become that realm. Yeah, you spelled it the right way, but you got to research it from an esoteric perspective. You can't research it scientifically because they're going to give you the Eurocentric scientific, this is what it is. And that's not really going to break you through. You got to look it up from an esoteric point of view. So that bicameral mind used to give us access to intuition. So our intuition today has been regulated down to a comatose state that becomes is binded by the ego and suppresses the inner voice of the soul's propositions. So we are in a comatose state intuition wise. We can't even hear the soul speak to us. The inner voice is of the soul. So it's not enough to receive every now and then. I'm talking about an intuitive voice to guide us in a direction we need to go in. We need to full out have a orderly engagement with that darkness in ourselves to open up the full dialogue and conversations, sifting through the shadows so we can know beforehand what to do before intuition is needed. Now the intuitive hidden godhood of your kinetic potential becomes the manager of your humanity. A true guide. Each and every one of us have this low self-esteem quality buried within us that at times hinder us from delving into truths of the issue that's suppressed by telling ourselves we did a good job or you did your best. That's it. After a while, we begin to believe these things to protect our ego from the truth of why we can't get shit done. So next, I'm gonna move into ultra-terrestrial secrets, Atlantis and Dagon, and we'll probably close out with that because I got some stuff to do. But we'll continue this going in on Patreon this week. We ain't done at all. I also want you to get the movie Madam Web. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. I'm going to tell you why. You got to get the movie Madam Web. Don't sleep on Madam Web because it's connected to the cosmic web of the universe. I'm going to speak about in superclusters right now. We got to get a little bit scientific. So when we get to the point where we can get that intuitive or not even need the intuitive state, that means we have gone through the dark night of the soul, which is called the soul Niger, the darkness of consciousness, Carl Jung talk about. And that is the premise. That's the premise of it all. They took down Brother Panic's channel. That's crazy. Maybe they just moved his files. They could have just moved his files to they probably hid his files. You can on YouTube, you can put your files into it's called unlisted. That's probably what happened. They're probably about to remonetize it to make some more money. So just remember, this is hell. Don't be too hard on yourselves. Anyone listen to Enter the Stars. Okay, let me go into this. So what we know now is that there are sacred technologies used with secret cipher code. So I showed this earlier. I got to get Alan H. Greenfield on here, which we're working on right now. So first of all, during the day, the spiritual sun in your body at 6 a.m. is in your head. So that's why the focus of meditation should be on your head. And by around 11 p.m. at night, it's starting to move down in the portions of the soles of the feet. That's why they call it a soul, because it's at the base of your feet, which is the Pisces. The two fish is your feet. But all of this is night Famaran science that we talk about on Patreon. So you're tracking where the spiritual sun and moon is in your body, just like you're tracking the constellations and where these planetary bodies are in the hologram. But there's a secret language. It depends how in depth you are with your spirituality, because people talking about some fucking aliens and shit like that ain't nothing. I don't have psychedelic experiences that I probably can share with you that revealed alien languages like this, but this is part of what Typhonian gematria is about. So the secret cipher codes is in Typhonian gematria. We just talked about that, where you can literally, let me give you this real quick. I wasn't going to give you this, but I'll put it up here. Hold on one second. Okay, I know what I did. So Typhonian gematria gives prophetic value of a technique somewhat akin to the Delinean formula, which is called the paranoid critical method. Just play the video back. The paranoid critical method. So you want to know what gematria is for. If you want to look at your name, if you want to look at people in your life, I'm going to show you how to use the process. Herein, this paranoid critical method is applied Kabbalistically. The entire process may be described as a systemization of delusions. It could be we're hallucinating a holistic reality, but we are perpetually fulfilling the Moav zone, which is the furthest reaches of the astral plane. Is called the Moav zone, on the way to achieving carnal manifestation at the will of whoever is enacting the magical reality. So you just play that back. But the Moav zone is also a self-contained world within us all at the edge of reality that we experience. And we can only conceive it as a non-existence. But in the Moav zone is where all of the aeons and Gnosticism enact simultaneously with a apotheosis outside of the circles of time. And I taught a class how imagination is space. So when we're looking at space in the skies, your imagination is representative of space. And it speaks about in Kenneth Grant's Outside the Circles of Time book, how our soul is a mobile starship of the void. And it's in an existence in space of our astral etheric atmosphere that we are to set up. Our memory resides in blood and water on this planet. Blood and water. Even Yahweh Ahariman said that memories of man were so loud, that's why he flooded Atlantis. That's why he destroyed the first worlds, the primal worlds, because he said that our memories from the bicameral mind was driving them crazy. The true word for the Anunnaki is the Salmat Kaudi, which was a previous hominid, because Billy Carson ass out here talking about he's seeing aliens. Was it Billy Carson? What was the show Billy Carson was on? Maybe a pop-up. He was on I forgot the name of that guy's show, but I'm gonna give you some reference to what he's talking about. I forgot the name of the show. You guys just put it in there, but he's talking about this thing, not ancient aliens. He was on a YouTube channel recently, a popular YouTube. The guy that does the show with Charlemagne, I can't remember his name, but what happened was you said it's Enter the Stars YouTube. No, that's not it. That's no guys, that's not it. He was just on a brand new show. Andrew Schultz. There you go. I'm like, what are these people talking about? Andrew Schultz. So that was the recent interview I'm speaking of. So I got pictures of it on. Yeah, here it goes right here. So you guys look up this interview, and he just grifting on all of these different things. And he's grifting on all these things. Okay, I see what you guys are saying. So he's grifting for all of these. He's grasping for straws, because he's making Jesus out to be connected to aliens and Thoth. Oh, Jesus was a manifestation of Thoth as an avatar. Let me tell you something. All of us are Christ. Each and every one of us. And I already showed the scripture said, ye are, if you want to go by scripture, Christians, Jesus said, ye are gods, and the scripture cannot be broken. But I'm about to get into this Anunnaki shit for his ass and other people out here that keep making this stuff, so out of whack that people just look at the stuff that we talk about as crazy and stupid. This is some serious shit. You're not supposed to take this ancient stuff and fuck around with it, talking about some gray alien walked in your kitchen and scared the shit out of you. So I don't know what the hell he was talking about. But the original name of the Anunnaki was called the Salmat Kot Kaudi. That's the true name of it. That's the original. That's the original name. Or they call it the Salmat Kot Kadi. It's pronounced either way, but they were people that were living inside of the Akasha while they were alive. So they were living inside of their energetic expressions. And yes, I do believe some of what he said, it was a God race before man. It was a God race before the hominids we exist in, that mix that gave us the hominid that we're in now. But the people who were in the genetic formation of that race were the archons. The guys over this planet were the Elohim, which are the what you call it, the archons. The Elohim are the archons. The archons is a cosmic artificial intelligence that was cut on at the beginning of, it was switched on at the beginning of this universe. Yeah, they were generating gods and certain galactic beings and stuff, but they were manipulating the genetics so that those beings would never be able to climb into the realms that they exist in. So there's another energy harvesting, some type of 10-based, 11-based mathematics that traps you into a universal sphere. Only 12-based mathematics, you don't have to create something, or you don't have to destroy something to create it. You don't have to destroy something to create it. You only have to destroy something to create it through Kabbalistic science. But before the Nephilim, Elohim, Anunnaki, all of that, even before the goddamn archons, were some other beings I'm going to talk about, where even before we fell into that genetic miscegenation with whatever they want to call an Anunnaki gods, we was above them anyway. We was above their ass. So he don't drop on that. He has to make it so people like what he says. That's grifting. Let me say it in a way they like that, you know. I don't give a damn you don't like what I say. I don't care if the words is big. I don't care if you don't follow it. Then you need to read some goddamn books I put out here from these other authors that's writing about this stuff. So basically, there's secret ciphers of codes in Typhonian gematria that the elites used to make communication with ultra-terrestrial realms, based first on transmissions and commentary from the 60th degree of the Rite of Memphis. So here you have commentary listed in the Secret Rituals, Men in Black, Alan H. Greenfield, that they did have a ultra-terrestrial connection. People in the 60th degree, there's 99 degrees in the Rite of Memphis, and they're the only Masonic lodge that follows exactly the Egyptian way, following the instructions of the secret chiefs, which my next video might be the secret chiefs on YouTube. Give you a heads up on that. Or the priest kings, about opening this mysterious key, which opens the forgotten intelligence of the world of light and darkness and joins the finite with the infinite. Now we're going back into those primal worlds. Atlantis was depicted as the sunken civilization, i.e., Atlantis was an ancient egregore that is now in the depths of the unconscious and the subconscious planes, where in the Necronomicon they call it the Great Old Ones, and the Great Old Ones were depicted as monsters from a faraway interdimensional region in the multiverse that all intelligence on the third dimensional construct begin with. But on the other side of Sirius, the great dog star, or the God star, because dog in the reverse is God, that likens this dog star or God star likens a advanced radiation waveform, where these subatomic lattices of corpulescent purities centralizing in the pole region of Pleiades. Only Sumer spoke about this intelligence of a aquatic creature or creatures that hailed from this Sirius tradition from the Philistines biblically by the name of Oannes, which the Hebrews translated Oannes into Dag. Dag means fish. So Dagon, the original mermen, they called them the Nomo, and the Dogon, which is a word based on Dagon, speaks of a celestial ark that came to the planet when hominids was in pre-development before the merging of the DNA of the Elohim, i.e. Anunnaki, which I can tell you both are the archons in the Gnostic Sethian sources of manuscripts, and Dagon is the father of Baal in the Canaanite records. Gods were active. Now, let me just explain what the gods were. The gods were active subatomic collectives of particles that manage the cosmic functionalities of the cosmos. So there you go. Gods are active subatomic collectives of particles managing the cosmic functionalities of the cosmos, and their job is to keep it out of chaos, which was when prior to the third dimension, the planes of consciousness fell from the other 8 higher dimensions above the third, where advanced intelligences of thought existed in primal sound and light fields and moved the essence of beings across the quark gluon plasmic viscosities of the primal sea waters, the waters of chaos, the waters above the firmament. They were called the primal waters of the mother, the original dragon Tiamat, but they called them the chaos beings. Going back in the ancient texts, they refer to them as chaos and chaos gods or chaos beings, or the Greeks call them titans. The Sumerians and the Ugaritic people called them great gods. So they were great gods, meaning they were the parents of the cosmic algorithm, the parents of sources of creation, Apsu, Tiamat, Ninhursag. This is before the goddamn Anunnaki. Yeah, I don't really believe in the Anunnaki stuff, but just for the case, you know, of people talking about the shit, I'll give it to you. I don't believe in that Lyrian stuff. All of that stuff was made up. I'll go get my video, Reptilian Myth. Some Lyrians, the Greys came from Aleister Crowley. These Lyrians, there was these magic orders that created their own galactic races and put it in a bunch of books, and now you believe you a goddamn tall white person from another planet. They're inflating your ego. These things aren't even physical. How can you draw something that's not physical? That was something powerful right there. I don't know. You got to think about that. How can you draw something that's not physical? So, yeah, they did demonize the monster. So billions of years pass. They're children of the great gods. They're basically clusters, subatomic particles, and plasma. What is plasma? Plasma is a high energy state of photons that are constructed by the means of quantum entanglement and in memories communication of specific information over vast distances. It would appear that yet another function of plasmas work as quote unquote entanglement machines. That's what plasma is. This is essentially what the gods are, entanglement machines to the universe. They are self-organized like cosmic algorithms, like how in science, for all of these physics researchers on my page, look into the Sloan Great Wall theory to understand how I put this. They're talking about a truly vast and cosmic distances of space and time, that the Sloan Great Wall is where processes that form the present day web structure cosmically. So that's why I pointed at earlier. You need to see Madam Web. They're encoded in the structures of something called superclusters. Superclusters are the birthplaces of clusters and the resultant structures therein. We can look into the novel method to identify how the galaxies cluster. So they find that each supercluster in turn contains highly dense cores of galaxies, and superclusters are lush with mysterious order beyond their spatial hierarchy. So superclusters are the largest prominent density enhancements in universes. And in their framework of hierarchical structure formation, superclusters are the next objects up from clusters. Only voids are between superclusters, and in the third dimension, voids are pockets of nets that contain the unconscious mind of all galactic species, and the superclusters work like a cosmic web to consciousness. So you got that. So we explained the gods, great gods, what they are before, you know, titans, monsters, all of that is whatever is before. So there is a persistent, even the word, what was the word monster? I'm going to put this on video. The word monster comes from a word called monstare. Or let me put a definition first for etymology. So monstare, how do you pronounce that again? Is it monstre, the quality or state of having a lack of experience? Hold on, let me look this up. I have the note on it. I think I'm not spelling it right, but there is a origin to the word monster. Yeah, there it goes. It's monstare, yeah. So it's Latin. So you have to put it in Latin. A Latin transliteration Monster is monstare, and a monstare or monster is, hold on. Hold on 1 second. So I didn't put the note down here. Okay, the monstare is something unknown to the mind. That's what a monstare is. It's something unknown to the mind. So that's simply what monster is, something unknown. Something that we don't know about. So instead of thinking about some hideous creature or something like that, that's all it is. So speaking of the black sun, for us to achieve this level, we have to reach down into the black sun's fire, which is called the alchemical hermetic tradition of the existence of the two suns, hidden one from another, the pure philosophical gold, which consists of the essential fire conjoined with ether, and the other apparent one of profane material gold. There's the dark consuming fire, and the material sun needs it to be in darkness according to the book of Holy Trinity. After Adam's fall, he's tainted by the original sin, and man is made from the black sun's fire. But the image of the black sun is referring to the fact that the great mystery, the first cause, the God Dharmata, the Tao, the universal mother, is invisible yet radiant, and the image being underneath the world refers to the fact that the great mystery is a hidden foundation and constant support of all existence. Here be that the black sun is used to illuminate the dissolution of the body, the blackening of matter, the putrefaction of splendor, solace. Suns correspond to gold. The centronitas is a generative masculine principle, speaking about the fiery spirit, the divine spark in man, the nobility or incorruptibility of the soul that reoccurs in images specific to solar motifs that can be found in the form of the dark black sun or a green lion devouring a sun. So that's what we're in. We're in a war to who can reach down in those dark regions of the subconscious, unconscious, and transform themselves. I could go into psychedelics, but I'm gonna save that. I think we did good today. I think we about at 3 hours, 30 minutes. I'm gonna save questions for another time. I do questions every time. So guys, that's all I have for today. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I will be back. I'm gonna try to be back this week. If I don't, I promise I'll be back next week, and we'll go into the secret traditions of the secret chiefs. I have a lot of stuff I got to do right now. That's why I can't do Q&A. Then I have to go to work. But I appreciate you all for listening in. If you have any questions, email me. Please email me or message me. But my email is startribe777@gmail.com. If you want to do consultations, schedule a consultation, come on to patreon.com/THE_spiritual shade room. We're going to be doing a couple videos this week. And I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you guys for the compliments in the comments. I see you guys. Love you all. Rimpoya, Oshulu, Ashe to the ancestors. And we'll be back next time. Peace.